Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers. It's 1 p.m. on Monday, and here we are. Can you believe it? We're back again. I never know when my voice goes out there, so holy mackerel, you probably get this in the middle of a sentence and they sound, what is he talking about? All right, it's Monday at 1 p.m. Trucking Answers, we're all here. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate that. I see that some people even had to find the show, which I really appreciate everybody coming in. As always, on Monday at 1 p.m. All right, it's pretty awesome out there. It's going to be a great day. Gracie is getting ready for her nap as usual. So let's get going. We are getting ready to get started here when I see the green line go as it's going on. Hello, James Faust. All right, Michael Muller was first today. Thank you for being here today first. Let's see what else is going on. Wild Bill is here. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Trucker Hershey, thank you for being here. Mark is here. Al Johns is out here today. I see the green line going for me on my end. I have to see that green line, so I think I'm going out there. That is good news. So we will go on here. Josh, thank you for coming in today and being here. Thank you, everybody, for coming in every Monday. It's always crazy. Can you believe we're going to do some ELD 5 mile per hour rule? Some people have been talking about that, sending me emails and yard moves, too. What's up with yard moves? Are you using them? You're not supposed to be. Yikes. I-10's flooded in Texas. That Petro down there in Beaumont, did you see those trucks stuck up there flooded through their doors? Crazy. A trucker took a bite out of a Camel underneath there, and the GM strike closure is continuing. How's that affecting everybody? Is that affecting anybody? Does anybody have anything to, happening about it? I don't know if that's affecting any drivers. All the drivers that drive for the place or whatever are out, of course. They're not being able to drive, certainly. So that's what's happening out there in the world, among many other things. I did see that Swift Border Patrol video, too, that we talked about. Holy mackerel, we can talk about that. What a disaster. That guy is a disaster area, and it's totally his fault, and we all know it. All right, holy moly. Ralph, good afternoon. Tanya, thank you for being here today. The fishing trucker, what's happening? James Faust, thank you for coming in. Hope you're doing good today. Semper Fido is here. What's going on? Thor's hate crime victim. Yikes. Hello. Thank you for being here anyway. The Rooster. What's happening? Trucker Todd. You just got the notification. You know, YouTube, sometimes they send them, sometimes they don't. There's nothing I get to control on that end of it, certainly. The Heady Trucker. Mark is my favorite YouTube trucker. I love it. Enough brown nosing. Thank you for that. The course money on the way for you. Tara can too. Oh, I'm not supposed to say that right. Hey, all right. What's happening? Say what is here. Hello, Wyland. Thank you for being here. Steel Horse. Hello. What's going on out there? Robert Brown. What is happening? Trucker B is in the house. Nomad Trucker from Pittsburgh. The President, George H.W. Bush, is here. I always like seeing you, Mr. President. Thank you very much for coming in and taking your time out of your busy schedule for, running heads of state and stuff. Glenn Boatman, your ELD is switching soon, right? How are you going to deal with moving a few feet to get unloaded without starting our clock? Well, that is a problem. Under the ELD at 5 miles per hour is required to change to driving. Sorry, the cat is scratching everything up over here. It is required to change to driving. So that's exactly correct. But here's the thing. The rule never really changed, right? We just always fudged the rule, didn't we? Driving is driving, right? Seriously. And so that's why they're doing that rule, because driving is driving. And so, if you have to take a coil off here and a coil off over there, we never used to have to log that. You wouldn't log, well, you had to. Nobody ever logged it. 2 coils go 2 different places. Now it's going to have to be logged. Or you're going to have to go under 5 miles per hour. Or use this yard move thing, which you're really not supposed to do. Blacklist War. Hello from YRC. What do you think about that place? I've recommended that to people. What do you say? Should people go in over there? Or no? What do you think about that? So, Kim from Seen But Not Heard, the Bull Holland Bulldog. Hey, what's going on for today? Yeah, Sam. Hello from Twin Falls. Your company has 5 mile per hour rule, and it makes things difficult. It does, but that's the law, right? The problem is the company has to do it because it's the law. And if you're driving, all driving is supposed to be logged. So really, they're giving you a benefit at 5 miles an hour. It can be a real problem, though. But the thing is, the harder it is for the company, the more they're going to have to pay you. Semper Fido, sunny and 72 in the Bay Area. Yeah, of course. Tell me that in January. GT40, what's going on? CeeLo's driving I-10 East to Houston. Yeah, tell me what's going on there. I-10 is supposed to be closed still, right, or no? James Faust, somebody bit a Camel. Yeah, a truck driver did in fact bite a camel's testicles. So these team truck driver, husband and wife, stopped at the Tiger truck stop, which I don't like that they have all these exotic animals in there because they're exotic animals and they shouldn't be cooped up at a truck stop. All right, so anyhow, they have a camel there, and these truckers have a blind dog. All right, so they let their blind dog out to go walk, and apparently they threw some treats in there, and the dog smelled the treats, so it went in with the camel enclosure. But it wasn't blind, it was deaf. That's right. It wasn't blind, it was deaf. So it wouldn't come back when they called it. That's why it wouldn't come back. So they didn't hear it. So they go in the enclosure, the woman does, and to get the dog, and the camel, of course, doesn't like this. And apparently it sits on her in such a way that to get it off of her, she bit its testicles. That's true. Now they called the police. The truck stop called the police, and they were ticketed for trespassing and for not having their dog on a leash. So apparently the camel was not ticketed. The police actually made a mention that the camel is not charged with any crime, and that the people are ticketed. It's the craziest thing. She said that was what she quote, "I did what I had to do." I love it. I love it. How do you check your CSA? All right, so I don't know how you check your CSA. You can go to your DAC. You can get a copy of your DAC report. That's a good question. I think it seems like it's in my head, but I can't think of it. Ours is all switched to drive at 5. Trucker Hershey. That's going to be the current law in December, but, they're just ahead of the game. Donovan, good afternoon. Texas Trader checking in from Houston, of course. Jason, good morning. Wyland loves the show. I appreciate that. Red Monkey Trucking, did I send you an email? Yes, I did. Hopefully you have received it by now. Steel Horse, yard moves just to know we can work for free. Companies aren't paying for mileage. Yes. Oh, I mean, totally. This yard move thing, they've invented yard moves, and our company does this too. Okay, they encourage people on longer runs. I don't have a long run, so I don't have a problem with it. But when you're close to 14 hours or whatever, they're like, oh, we'll just yard move that back. And that's all yard move is. Yard move is supposed to be moving around a yard. But this is just a way for you to run some more time without getting paid. Ask them, what does yard move pay? Ask your company that when they tell you to go on yard move. See what they tell you about that. It's just a way to get another way in there for them to not pay you. Dwayne, hello. Trucker Todd, you're here for the Roller Wiener giveaway. Wow, that'd be great. Must retrieve in person at the Loves. Frederick Frankenstein, howdy from the Red River Valley. Nice. Rolling LTL, better than radio. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I was considering people said to get on XM. I was considering sending them a pitch. Then I don't know. I haven't considered if I'm going to do it. Trucker Hershey, so I'm getting ready to start the night shift, 7 p.m. till whenever. Love it. Don't you love nights? Everything's closed, no traffic. That's the way to do it. And at least 7 p.m., I guess, until 9 a.m. would be the longest. The Rooster, the Chevy dealership by your house has not had parts coming in. That's a problem. And GM has said that the dealers aren't going to have parts here pretty soon because there's not going to be any parts being made because of the strike. So if you need your Chevy fixed, you may want to go over there and get it fixed currently. Kenneth P. from Forest Park in Atlanta. Hello. Say what? Yard move was implemented 2 weeks ago by your company. It's just a few of drive time in the yard. Yeah, look, what they're trying to do, though, is make you work a little bit more without paying you anything extra. Because like Steel Horse said perfectly, that they're not going to pay you anything extra for this extra time that you should be getting paid for. Yeah, they implement this because they know that the 5 mile an hour thing is going to be a problem. Absolutely. And they're going to encourage you to use it, and people use it and get away with it. It's a way for companies to get away with violating the law, but the DOT to say, oh, well, we enforce all this stuff. I'll say what? Yeah, minutes, exactly. Kenny from Newton, North Carolina. Well, I don't know where that is. Is that by Pedro out there on the border? Clay, I have yard movement to keep it under 5. Right, exactly. But all that's unpaid. How much does yard move pay? Does it pay anybody anything? Glenn, our instruction sheet, it says yard move is on duty. I guess I won't be going to shipper anymore because I'll be running out of time. Right, but it doesn't take your drive time. So theoretically, a yard move is not going to take up any drive time that you have. That's the thing that they want to do. They want you to do a bunch of free stuff so that you can still do all your driving. Solitary soldier, who's defined by 1, why can you use a yard move at a shipper receiver? Why is that not recommended? Isn't that illegal to use a yard move? Well, you're not doing a yard move, really. You're driving. You're not just moving a trailer around. You're driving. My problem with it, like Steel Horse said here perfectly, of course, is They're not paying you for it. It's a way to not pay you. So anytime they have a way to not pay you, I'm never for it. Did he say why he did it? Did he say why he did what? Who are we talking about? Because my screen here, I think, is a little bit behind what is actually happening. I'll just unplug the ELD. Oh, like an outlaw. Nice. Next thing, they already bend me over a barrel and make me bite the proverbial pillow. Or Camel, I guess. Michael, who is, of course, in the company cafeteria, I considered moving a shipper receiver yard move, or as the company yard. So if you have to look for 30 minutes for a trailer, you just lost 30 minutes on the free. Well, that's because if you got paid for that time, it wouldn't be a problem of losing the 30 minutes of drive time, right? I mean, honestly, right? That's why you do it. I get it. Look, I get why people do it. You're losing the drive time, but if they paid you properly for all of your time, you wouldn't have to go on the onto the drive time, to only make it on drive. Yeah, Clay Camel, it was. Look, it was in the news. I can't make some of this stuff up. Let's say what, Ryan? Silos. I was a dock worker at YRC in Jersey, then trained, good old-fashioned union company. That's true. Would have made more money there in home daily than the OTR. I think Yellow's going to be paying more than an over-the-road job if you stay there any length of time. Please define what a yard move is used for. Well, a yard move is supposed to be for moving around a yard. Okay, that is correct. You'd use it, like people said, you can get to the dock, that kind of thing, in a yard move. But you're not being paid. They just made yard move up because of the 5 mile an hour rule. Because they're like, well, crap, people are going to have this 5 mile an hour rule, and people are going to go on drive time and not like it. So you'll be able to use a yard move for that. But all it does is reduce your pay. It doesn't increase your pay. Things that don't increase your pay, I don't like them. Robert Brown, it's not even hump day. I don't know what day that happened. I should look at the date. Ryan, hey, what's going on? Did you get your truck straightened out from last week? Yikes. Glenn, your company is disappeared off of here, right? As usual. Company's getting rid of her T800s, T680 maxi trucks. Wow. With only a 52-inch sleeper and no storage. Wow. What are they? How come they're doing that? Yes, we're all smelly because none of the laundry services ever work. We can get our car or deck from the safety department. Oh, that's not a bad idea. See if your company can give it to you. Why did I think of that? Right. Hey, Cartage, what's going on? Hey, how's it going? Blacklist War. YRC is a great company. You started out in the dock, and the company put training, which they do there, right? Dock to driver. And I had to pay was your background for my hazmat and the license. That's not bad. That's pretty good for a CDL, and the pay is good, and I bet you get paid for all of your time. Who do I drive for, says James Faust. Oh, I know. That's good. 11, almost the same time. I never get asked that question. And so I'll tell the new people here, since I do the show every week, Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, I don't say who I drive for. That keeps them out of my videos. And I don't recruit for these companies. How many drivers are out here recruiting for their company? Holy moly. Almost every driver that's out here. Not everyone, but a lot of them. And so I don't recruit for them, and I don't say who I drive for. Then I can do whatever video I want, certainly. Wild Bill does not like yard moves. I bet you have more of them than the average person, I think. Rhino, yard move is intended for your shipper loading or run out of time. You can move to their parking for free loading. You would be able to move around the parking lot, certainly. On a yard move, it's going to still put you on duty, but it's going to be a yard move. Trucker Hershey does not have a yard move option. It would be up to your company or your ELD supplier if they have it on there. They've put it on ours, of course, so they can get more free work out of you. I don't have to do it, but some drivers here have really long days, and some of them use it at the, not a request really, but encouragement of the company. I'm not a fan. Todd, don't understand shipbacks, $11.80 a week. At 3,200 miles, it's 35 cents. Well, 3,200 miles, if you got 3,200 miles every week, you'd be getting more than $11.80 because of the bonuses. The $11.80, I think it's like $11.67, maybe it went up, is a salary, including your home time. Remember that as well. Are roller breads covered under the roller giveaway? Anything that rolls, any type of round meat product that rolls is covered. Steel Horse, don't use yard move unless you get paid. Yes. That's the only way to get them to pay you for stuff is to not do stuff that you don't get paid for. You say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't work for free here. Sorry. Alpha, some trucking companies are running illegal so long they don't have the ability to do it any other way. And that's what it's been in the industry, and that's why drivers continue to do it. I hear that all the time. Well, that's trucking. That's just the way it is. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. It's only that way because we allow it to be that way. Michael Muller, I hate the new rule. Why can't they just leave the stuff alone? Now we have to pull over at least 30 minutes sooner to have enough drive time to back up. Well, under the new rule, which won't go into effect until, God, who knows, next year sometime probably, it will actually extend your 30-minute break, maybe one of the better parts of it, where it can be after 8 driving hours. So let's see what you think about that. Food at Tiger is pretty good, is it? I bet. A lot of exotic meats there, I'm sure. There'll be some camel meat on the menu soon. Love this show because it's going to wrap up the work week. Making Mondays great again. Oh, that would make a nice red hat. Thank you, Clay. Yeah, stock up on your Cadillac Northstar engine parts. Yes. Anybody running a Cadillac Northstar still, I guess, can go get their parts now before they run out. I guess, but it's $250 a day if they drive or not. That's not bad, right? $250 to not drive is not bad. Wild Bill, oh, you do get paid for yard moves. That's true. So I guess on your, Bob Seeger gets paid for night moves. So Trucker Hershey yard move for drop and hook, like at different lots or other sides of the building, or delivered to 3 different buildings. That would be good, but how much of that is getting paid? Probably not much of it. Tom Foolery, who I saw had a new video today that I didn't watch yet due to prepping, although people would suggest that I don't do any of it, would be mostly right. I race around the distribution over 5 miles an hour all the time, chasing spotters. Oh, that's true. Yeah, spotters, everybody has a 10 mile an hour except spotters. Clay, I move around the yard to hook up trailers. Cheats the 20-minute company PTI. Well, you shouldn't cheat your PTI, certainly, but they should pay for that too, right? I was told in orientation the regs say drive time is only when on a public roadway. If I'm on a lot, it can be on duty time. The regulation, what does 395 actually say, right? Any time spent behind the wheel, driving or in preparation to drive a vehicle. Okay, so that's what it says. So meaning even if you're stopped in traffic or whatever, if you are in preparation to drive, you're ready to drive, you're behind the controls and are ready to drive. So if traffic moves, you start driving, that's driving. Thanks again for the GPS one, Steven. Did you get it, and how is it? Let me know. I don't run a trucking GPS, and that's thanks to GP Transco, but you're welcome. And they just pop that in there. I don't ask them to do that or anything. So I really like the place, and they were just voted one of the highest pays in the country. Check them out. They're having a huge lot of calls, but check them out. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Have you used it? Did you get it? What's going on with it? I have a lot of questions. We don't have yard moves at Werner. Well, ask them to add it on there. Are you running a full ELD? Probably there you are, right? Ryan, I secretly know who I drive for. Oh, I'm proud to admit he's the top least paid driver and happy because I provide as many roller wieners as I can. That's all they pay me. I get paid in wieners. That sounds really interesting. Personal conveyance is for personal, not work. True. Do not use PC for anything related to the company. Comfortable Man is here. Good afternoon. What's happening? Rhino, good. It's being fixed. That's good. Solitary Soldier, thank you for being here and for saying that. Not authorized. Let the rolling wieners hit the floor. 3-second rule on wieners on the floor. Kim, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. What company do I drive for? Right, we covered that shortly a little bit ago. Clay, I get paid a percentage from loads. Doesn't affect me. Paid moving under 5 miles. Right, so you're going to get it. You get it either way. Yard move starts your clock, but you don't drive. What kind of sense does that make? Well, because you get more on-duty time than you get driving time. So it wouldn't affect you as much. Plus, you can always be on duty over your 14 hours as long as you're not driving. So if you're 14 and a half hours, you could still yard move as long as you want. It only affects your drive time. Hey, Michael Muller, right. Yep, they were way ahead of you today. Anyone watch Cowboy Kent Rollins? A ranch cowboy cooking. He's got you cooking bacon, egg, ham waffle baked with country gravy. Wow, that's really something. Thanks, Wild Bill. I appreciate it. What company don't I work for? There's numerous ones. How about one I would never work for? Fleet Nav Systems. Right, it doesn't take off your drive time, but it starts your clock. It essentially counts as on duty. That's correct, but you can use it at the back end. That's the thing of it. We're the good lot lizards. That's something you might hear at the back of the TA in Ontario, Glenn. Let's say you got to move 10 feet to get your flatbed on a good angle in the morning. It'll start your clock. Well, if you were under 5 miles an hour, it also wouldn't do anything. So, and really, creeping 10 feet like that, it probably wouldn't change. I know ours, if you go really slow, because I've tried it here and that, it won't change anything. Just creeping around really slow. There's some kind of distance to it also, but you could creep 10 feet and not change anything. You'll just log out. Well, they would catch you on that here. You couldn't log out, your You wouldn't be allowed to log that. It depends how good your log department is. Blacklist war. I had to learn how to drive in my off time. But for me, it fair and had to sign a contract, a deal I was drive with for at least 1 year. Payback $5,000. Yeah, look, it's 1 year is normal. Not bad. Favorite roller wieners? I like those cheese-filled ones. Aren't those the greatest? Then it'll go unassigned logs, which show up and have to be explained in audit. Yes, your company always says, was this your, because it'll say, were these your driving time? You always go, no, skip that, right? So forget, I'm not in on that, exactly. Kenneth, sure does, but it has to be a meat product. The roller egg rolls are pretty good. Sure, morning breakfast wieners. Tony, 5,000. ELD is bad for trainers. All backing practice. Where did I go? Oh, I lost my spot. Boy, that's a surprise, Mark. You lost your spot. Am I that far behind here? Holy moly. I'm a disaster. Oh, yes, I'm way behind. All right. All backing practice must be done on drive time. This will force you to lose miles, money, and time. No more 34-hour resets. Losing money. You're there to train people, though. If it's just money, then you're not really in it to train, right? Trainers should be paid a wage, so you don't have to worry about this kind of thing. Really. Backing practice must be done on drive time. Of course, you're on the driver is driving. The student is driving, absolutely. Why wouldn't that be driving? If you log out, your company will get an unassigned drive time. Right. Depending on how good they are on it, you'll be busted. I wasn't aware there was such a thing as a good lot lizard. Depends if you got $5 or not. Hey, Mark, it's Todd going to Effingham, Illinois at the Petro, my favorite Petro. Cheesy Camel bites at the Tiger truck stop, apparently. Ruth, hey, Mark, from Gary and Ruth in Conneaut, Ohio. Thanks for the love scar. Oh, you're quite welcome. I'm glad you got it, and I hope you're enjoying some roller wieners with it. Trucker Hershey, but aren't you making so much more money as a trainer? The trainer should be making more money already. That's correct. Daycab Gear Jammer, good morning from California. Paid not for drop and hook, but get stop paid to deliver for multiple buildings. That's not a bad idea. They should. All your time should be paid. None of this 5 mile an hour thing, none of this would be a problem if everybody was getting paid for their time. Now you can't get the truck fixed at the truck stop on your 10 hour. You got to wait till your 10 hours done, then go on duty and start my clock and wait 4 hours in the shop to get fixed. Well, that's interesting. If you that's a close one, because breakdown, waiting for repairs is considered on duty time. That's listed in the DOT, waiting for repairs. But if you don't have any responsibility for the truck, is that really off duty time? It's hard to say, isn't it? Rules in real life match up. There are problems with that one. Wood, camel testicles, Iraqi desert oysters. Yeah, there'd be oyster in there somewhere. It's just another way to cut our pay. Yeah, if we allow it. If a yard move crosses zip codes, you'll get paid, and you'll have to fill out your mileage sheet if it crosses the state line. The roller wieners on fire. I use yard move for loading and unloading and paid, but it's I pay me. Well, if you pay yourself, you're all set. Oh, sweetbreads, those are even worse. Glenn, what if a shipper wakes us up before 10, hopefully they wake up, before a 10-hour break, and they say, if I don't get unloaded and I have to wait another day, that's happened to me, that's a problem. You'll have to decide, do you want to violate your log, or what do you want to do? I mean, seriously. I really didn't like parking at shippers and receivers just for this kind of thing, and this was years ago, even on paper, because they'll wake you up. It's like at 8 a.m. and at 3 in the morning, they're out there knocking on your door going, oh, back in the stock, we'll get you unloaded. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm sleeping. Now you're going to have to really decide. Do you want to drive over there and restart your 10-hour break, or do you wait another day? I don't know. What truck do you prefer to drive? An automatic? I'll take a Volvo. A manual? I'll take a Freightliner. The automatics and Volvos, since I've driven that one here, shifted the best. But I'll take my Cascadia with a 13-speed would be the best way to do it. Tanya likes an automatic Pete. We don't have any Petes here. I know there are some companies running them, but as long as it still shifts good, way better than they used to. Roller tamales at the Pilot. Really? That doesn't sound great. Sounds so wrong. Mass wieners hitting the floor at the top story for CNN. That wouldn't be great either. You like Cowboy Kent. Who don't you drive for? There's many places. Testing for FedEx tomorrow. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so FedEx is going to hire 55,000 drivers this year. Now, most of them are for ground, but 35% of the people that they hired last year, they kept. So that's for Christmas, of course. They're starting to hire right now. That's in the news. 55,000 drivers are going to be hired, and they kept 35% of them. Something to consider if you're looking for something new to do. Steven, you got it Friday on your birthday. Oh, well, that's how it was planned. I was taking 34, got home to spend it with your wife. Nice. Son is still reading the manual. Nothing difficult, but want to try the functions. Okay, yeah. Let everybody know how that goes, because I don't use one. Do anything about RV transport? Not really, other than I see the ads for it. We did have one driver quit to go do that. He bought a pickup truck and went to go transport RVs. I haven't never talked to him again, though. That was years ago. I think there's some people at work that may still know him. I'll see if I can find out about him, but I don't know how it went. Other than that, no, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if Jay would know about it. Maybe. Auto Transport Intel, he deals with hauling cars and stuff. He'll be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central. He might know about it. Maybe. Right here on YouTube Live on his channel at Auto Transport Intel. Maybe. But I don't know really anything about it. Michael Muller, yeah, but them office people don't know what the real world is. You should have an FMS CSA member drive along so they could see how it's not good. And right, look, they should have to be drivers. Why aren't there any drivers? Once you get high up, there's never any drivers. I found out JC sold them out for 17 roller winners. Gracie, that's not right. Has anyone... that isn't right. I believe that too. How do you know how... let's see, I'm curious. All right. Where's the... what is training is done as follows. Is it cat time? It could be cat time as I try to figure out what I'm doing here. Even the cat's like, what are you doing over there? She has no idea. I don't know. It's turned into a free-for-all. Cat and blue parrot break. Oh, right. We can't forget about that, of course, as I look over here for that. And there it is. Right. Always, right? Have a blue parrot. Stay legal. Look, stay legal. Blue parrot. You need a blue parrot. Best headset. Stay legal. I'm going to see if I can get some more blue parrots to give away. As a matter of fact, I need to write to them this week. I'll see what I can get going on here. Trainer gets 8-hour day standard 9-5. Yet trainer 70 hours are only for you and trainer to practice. Trainer does not drive or advance load. Good. That company, whatever. If you want to say what it is, that would be great. If not, that's fine too. But companies, that's how I would do it too. For you to be a trainer, all the time the student is driving, you would be required to log on duty at my company or I wouldn't pay you for training. You cannot train from the sleeper. Wyland, I just ran paper logs to get paid percentage. Get paid for everything, but work with an owner-operator. Well, that's a problem. Is that owner-operator going to have an ELD here in a couple months? And are you being paid as a 1099? Musafar, wow, hi Mark, love the show. Do you know of a company that doesn't micromanage the driver's Violating drive cam? Now, well, they're getting more and more of those. Look, Ashley Furniture is one that comes on, even on their ad. I always like this in their ad, and says no driver-facing cameras. So companies are putting this in their ads now. And the Lytics cams are not at every company by far. It's only a minority of companies. But I like that some of the places are putting in their ads. JJ is going to avoid vagrants, lot lizards, presumably also bums, panhandlers, who try to come up and knock on the door and take years of practice only for highly skilled. There's a guy at the Meijer, standing at Meijer knocking on people's doors. Wait a day and do it 34 if you're low on hours. Michael Muller, are you going to have cash to pay the yard jockey to move my trailer? Around the yard and bobtail at shipper and receiver. And with the new rules, truck stops are going to be packed. Well, they're trying to avoid that with the 8-hour break changing around a little bit. It won't help the truck stop situation, certainly. Peterbilt 379 is here. What's happening? The laddie trucker, that's what you're doing wrong. I hang out with the vagrants. Yes, don't hang out with vagrants. If we move the truck under 5 miles an hour, it does not mess up the 30-minute break. Right, it's not supposed to. Eventually, at a certain distance, though, at least on our trucks, after you go a certain distance, even slower than that, it changes over. It's far, a few hundred feet at least. You'll have to check your system, and you can't really ask the company. Well, I guess they probably would tell you. How far can I drive before I violate the log? Not that kind of thing. Glenn, the new T680s they're ordering have climate control and the auto idle start. So I finally won't have to deal with the idle problems during the summer. No fridge or microwave in it, but I'm out all week. Well, at least they're doing that for you. Jeez, that place has been a disaster. George Costanza's here. It's a trucking recession. We're all going to starve. There were 2 articles today. One says how terrible trucking is, and then the next one's like, there's a huge driver shortage. Well, if it's a recession, there wouldn't, then where's all this shortage from? How do they need more people if there's no jobs? Peterbilt 379 saw a video that said truck drivers will not exist in 10 years. Yeah, that's certainly not true. I'll guarantee you there'll be drivers in 10 years. Cab over International with a 290 Cummins and a Super 10. Oh my gosh. Yikes. And then we'll take it right back to the museum after we drive it in the parade. No Skynet is going to take over and kill us all. That will probably happen before, that there's no trucks. They'll just all kill us. I always heard hanging things in your windshield would keep out lizards. I don't know about that. That's something to consider. I'm not going to try it. Did creative parking one night for 34 reset, move truck to parking spot next day, 2 miles an hour. So you're at 5. How far did you move it? How far were you able to move a comfortable man? Only RV transporters that make money are the ones pulling flatbed trailers. That way they can pull 2 or 3. The more you could pull, the more you'd make, certainly. Kurt, why don't most companies just shut up? Most companies are self-serving, and some truck drivers are getting to be the same. Well, from some truck drivers are getting, everybody really is self-serving. Everybody wants to make more, them and us, right? Little late to the party, says Bill Land, but I'm chilling at home eating a grilled yellowtail collar, enjoying this beautiful weather. Sweet. Must be somebody else working at YRC. Carnage Studio, I drive a hotshot with 40-foot trailer. We use Keep Trucking and run it off a cell phone. It has PC and yard move as well, right? So it's going to have, because you have that, it's going to have all that stuff for you. RV transporters that make money are pulling single trailers are lying and running illegally. You don't want to do that either. Put 2 or 3 trailers and it seems like you would make more. You probably just use PC for that per FMCSA definition. Time spent traveling to a nearby reasonable safe location to obtain required rest after loading and unloading. That's correct. Once you're loaded or unloaded at a shipper or receiver, you can move to the nearest safe legal parking spot on personal conveyance. If your company allows it, remember. Like my company does not allow PC. It's not on there. They don't allow you to move PC, period. So it depends on your company if it's, if you're a company driver. Because we're just slaves to the FMCSA, every rule is another way to twist the thumb screws tighter to see how much more cash they can push until we all strike. And well, we allow it. The yard moves and all that where they don't pay you. Why do you do that? I mean, honestly, where there's time, I get these letters all the time. I sit 4 hours a day, every day. Why do you do that? I mean, there's tons of jobs. Stop doing it. Just watch Convoy. You need a rubber duck situation. That would help. Daniel, we get paid for all our on-duty time by accumulating PTO. Drivers been there a while, getting a day off for 60 hours at their average daily pay. That's great. So your company does that, and then there are people that sit for, 20, 30 hours a week. I get these letters all the time. You're going to have to look around. You may actually have to move to another place. You may have to move somewhere else in the country. But isn't that better than working 20 hours a week your whole life for nothing? It seems like, who wants to work for free? Company policy cannot use PC. Yes, we don't allow it here where I am either. Ryan, good afternoon. Glad you can make it. Leaving Durant, Oklahoma, going to Boise. Oh, that sounds like a great load. Cash is King Trucking is here. What's happening, Mr. Company? Good to see you. Hope everything is going good out there. It sounded like it was last we saw you. No ELDing S1099, right, Wyland, but I'm business partner, so works out well with taxes. Okay, as long as you got it set up, it's okay with me. Whatever you want to do there. Would you still run paper log if ELD malfunction? You were required to run a paper log if your ELD malfunctioned, and you're required to carry a paper log with you, just in case it malfunctions. So, yeah, that's what you have to do. I would like to thank the dwarf for inventing the roller wiener machine. Do you think a dwarf invented that? It's a truck, it's shrinkage. Oh, my gosh. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Blacklist War. Worst truck have I ever driven? I don't know. I don't know. The first truck, that first Brigadier was nothing to write home about. I'll tell you that. With the 5+2, which had a 2-speed rear end in it, which probably James Faust would enjoy. And as well remember, but that wasn't a great truck. It was all rattly and everything. Some of those old Macs were all horrible. On the road, I really did pretty good on the road. Always had a good road truck. We buy old trucks and rebuild and customize them, says Wyland. Cash is King ran paper 2 weeks ago and the ELD wouldn't power on. Still log legal. Yes. You're at a place, right, that log's legal and seems to pay you for most or all of your time. That seems like a pretty good deal. They have to keep 6 paper logs, so if your ELD malfunctions, yeah, I tell people just keep a blank logbook. I think that's the best way. Even if you have to buy one, go get a blank logbook and just carry it with you in the truck. Then you never have to worry that you don't have one. Simple. Couple bucks, throw it in there, you got it made. Your company should give you one, though. Comfortable, man. There's no driver shortage. There's a driver retainment. All these companies poach off each other and then wonder why they can't get drivers. Some drivers leave every year for a new sign-on bonus. With the holiday season coming, there's no way freight is going to be slowing over the next few months. Now with FedEx, look, they're going to hire 55,000 people. UPS is going to start their hiring. In Indianapolis last year, it was 30 an hour plus overtime, but there's no guarantee of a job at the end of it. Going to go to shipper and receiver, drop trailer and PC to truck stop and back once your appointment and ask the yard jockey if he could move it so you won't violate. Oh, if your company allows that, you could do that. Right. I do Hotshot. Wish you had an old 7.3. Wow. I don't know if Hotshot, if these haulers also require you to have a certain year or model on your pickup truck. That might possibly be. How come mega carriers are the only ones that have the supposedly having the driver shortage of Peterbilt 379? Because they're the ones that have a shortage of pay and a shortage of good treatment. So people that get treated better, like Cash is King Trucking, for example, and paid for their time and treated like a professional, they don't have as much of a driver shortage problem. All these mega carrier ATA companies are pretty horrible generally. Once in a while you get people that stay there and like it, but they wouldn't have 150% turnover. It was a great place. JJ Godfrey can move as long as you stay in first gear. Oh, really? Well, not going on drive. Well, the ELD will have a 5 mile per hour limit by law. So if your company changes over to that now or by December, 5 miles an hour is the law. I wonder how they'll do that at the scales. The heady trucker, I'm still waiting to be loaded. I'm supposed to go 250 miles after this with 2.5 hours left. You have a problem. You can yard move the rest of that, I guess. Not legally. Scarecrow, hey Mark, good afternoon. I'm looking, people say no sign-on bonus. I hate cameras. Facing you like West Coast, 11 Western states. I have my own Facebook page. All right, that's awesome. I don't even know what just happened. Sappy for happy. Anyone have experience or comments on System Transport? Company out of Washington. Yeah, they're the partner of that reefer company too. Mega carriers are a shame. Yes, they should all close. You deal with a lot of their trailers, I bet, every day. Derek makes it nice and log legal. Yes, isn't that great? Logging legal, you don't have the stress. There's so much stress in that. We only get PC to Bob to the hotels that don't have shuttles. Really? Well, I guess then, they must have a deal. I assume where you are, they have some kind of deal at places, though. And I still think where you're at, you have a pretty good deal. Even though I don't know where it is, it sounds great. Companies need to open switch yards where over-the-road drivers drop and hook and city drivers. Absolutely. I always wonder why these companies don't do this. These large companies, because they run some day cabs, why don't they have drop yards near major cities? Over-the-road drivers come in, drop their trailer, and pick up one that some local driver has headed out with. Everybody would be way happier. The local people that want to be home would be home every day delivering, and the over-the-road drivers that want to be on the road and get miles would be out getting miles. It seems like a great idea. While legal can still make good. Would be nice to have less stress. I hate when I'm home and don't go on PC. Yes. You don't have to go do that. Go do something else that, the stress is going to kill you. Yard moves are bad when you get stuck by a train. Oh, you may have more of a train problem than other people as well. If you have an accident in PC, are you more likely to get into trouble? Not if you're logging legal, right? As long as you're logging legal, no. Referring to the way you hang in your hat in the windshield. Okay. Way less stressing. You just do your job. It's way better that way. Bill Land questioned him. The only one who gets super frustrated when a shipper asks you to move your loaded trailer up at a door and drop your empty in the same spot because their yard guy is busy. Well, a double drop and hook. Look, if he would have as long as you're getting in and out of there like a drop and hook, I mean, that's better than waiting there for 5 hours, I think. But yeah, it's a pain, but holy mackerel. Michael Muller, how are we supposed to mark the paper log if the ELD goes out? We still go on duty at delivery pickup. Is it all drive time? You would log it legal, right? It should be logged the same as an ELD, right? I mean, the ELD doesn't change the log rules. It only changed the way that we have to log. So it would still be logging the same legal, right? You need at least 8 days of empty logs. A blank logbook solves all that problem when you're to carry. Just carry a blank logbook with you. My ELD malfunction, GPS sensor failure, and one entry did it, not log location. Had to fill out paper for the whole day. That's correct. Turned it in, you're all set. Your company should be fine with that, right? Heard that the FMC expects to find at least 8 days of spare paper logs and inspection to make sure you're prepared for a malfunction. Right. And so, blank log, I think we got it made. If anyone thinks we have a shortage, look at the load board and find capacity shortages with weekly loads. There aren't any. Where are all the trailers sitting around where there's no driver to drive them? Nowhere. You remember when the GMC Brigadier was king of the road, James Faust? Yes. And the Chevrolet Top Kick, I think, was the General. Maybe it was a Chevrolet. No, the Chevy was Top Kick or something. There was a Chevy version, right? But yeah, you remember that. That wasn't great. It was a single axle 5 with a 2-speed rear end, and not great. Good for city use, which is what it was being used for, but it just was all falling apart and everything. I remember it had typical Cadillac General Motors power steering too. You could turn the steering wheel in that truck with one finger. It was really something. Way over boosted. Trucker Hershey, I would think they should have an add button to that for one missing log. They should. The company should also add it in when you give it to them. They're supposed to type it in. They usually don't. Here they never do. Logging legal needs BS rules. Basically, truck moves 5 plus on driving, keyed off. Lawyer needs all that middle ground to take all the blame from every direction to point at the truck driver. If you're on PC and you're allowed to be on PC, then, what can they do about it? Cash is king. Mary Barra, the CEO of GM, made $22 million a year. She doesn't understand why the employees are striking. I mean, she makes good money at GM. She's like, look, people make good money here. The GM strike, which is still going on, they took a bunch of pay cuts years ago to keep GM in business, and they want some of that money back. And GM's like, well, we don't want to do that. We need all these temporary workers and stuff. So just remember the driver must provide a written notice to the carrier on a malfunction within 24 hours. Yeah, we have a form for that, which your company should have as well. We have a special form just for that if there's a malfunction. You're supposed to also call them and let them know so that they can get it scheduled in to get it fixed, but there's a written form that we have with us for that. Ozark does the send the city guys to get the OTR guys trailers thing. I thought that was smart. The only reason I quit because not enough container work. Isn't that a great idea? What if they did it all the time? Over the road drivers could just, even city guys could meet road drivers somewhere with a load that's going back out. That would be great, and the road drivers would keep rolling. City guys would be busy all day. I mean, how great would that be for everybody? It's actually a triple drop and hook. I'm still saying it's better as long as you do not have to wait. Exceptional. What are you buying for us for lunch, Mark? It's always roller wieners for everyone. Always, every day here. Because it's Roller Wiener Monday, as usual. Catnip for the cat. WV, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Kenworth Rider, the GM General, and the Chevrolet. Oh, it was a Bison. Okay, was the top one on the Bison. Todd McGuire at 55 truck stop in Bolingbrook, 300 empty parking spots, watching drivers struggle to back in between the few trucks. Here, yeah, because they're probably in the front, right? Oh my gosh, this happens more in the winter and even in thunderstorms. And go to fuel. The first couple of spots, I've seen people waiting. There's 3 trucks waiting, and then there's 4 empty fuel islands where people could fill up. You can't walk from the 5th fuel island or whatever. I guess your toes would get cold in the flip-flops that you're wearing. Used to carry a case of logbooks to never run out of hours. James Faust, yeah, and that's when that case was $4. You could go in the truck stop, you get I remember logbooks for like 59 cents. So absolutely, you could get all the hours you wanted. We all used to have a few of them. Sam, my first inspection came when your ELD was down. The only thing I was concerned about if I was running paper log right. Passed with no issues. Good. So you got it made. A good one. Yeah, wow, Bill, you remember that too, I'm sure, right? And they were not good at Ozark, Babylon, Zyna, what the heck? Right, Road King. Been driving for a year. Your company's no good. Pay is not worth the sacrifices. Leaving trucking next week, but we'll listen to the show. Thanks for the service. Well, I appreciate that. Look, you don't have to leave trucking. If you want to continue to truck, there's tons of local jobs all over, as I say, unless you live in East Armpit Nowhere land. There are local jobs where you can keep trucking and be home every day and still make a good living. So I'm sorry that you're leaving because, the over the road, it's tough to find a good place. There are good places on the road, but there's a lot of them that it's just not worth it. Grant, but thanks for being here and thanks for staying. Grand Jeep, should the company pay the driver waiting for the truck to be fixed on the road? Absolutely. I get paid for that. You should too. We pay immediate breakdown pay here. As soon as they are notified of a breakdown through my phone call, I get paid until the truck is fixed, period. And that's either till it's fixed or they tow me a truck. Once I'm rolling, I don't get paid again. But yes, you should get paid for that. You should get paid for all of your time, all of it. Bill Land is in the top 0.1%, but drive for a Swift, a mega carrier, and love it. Well, here again, dedicated. What have I said right? At these large companies, if you can get on a dedicated route there, I tell people that are getting ready to quit a mega carrier, look, see if they have a dedicated route. And that seems to do a lot better for people. They seem to enjoy it a lot more. So a mega carrier on a dedicated route goes good, yes. Work for Arca Express out of Markham. Nice. I used to live up there in the area. They log changed immediately if you moved. Oh, nice. Had the log triggered getting loaded since the steer tire moved. Wow. They are serious up there. That is the law. That's the law, right? Never heard about a written form? Yes. There is a special written form. At this time, my ELD malfunctioned. It is anticipated to be fixed at this time. Until then, I'm running paper logs, and you sign it. Yeah, we have a form for that. Kenworth Rider, GM's cabovers were the GMC Astro, right? I had an Astro, and a Titan was the cabover. Okay, you never saw that many Chevrolets, but I had a GMC Astro, which the windshield went down almost to your ankles. It was kind of creepy. It was like you were in a fishbowl, but it had great visibility for people that drove one. Bill dedicated is always best on a mega carrier. Michael Muller, yeah. At a mega carrier, if you can get in there, look, ask them for a dedicated route right away. Tell them that's what you want. And you'll have all the benefits of a really large place, and you'll be on a regular route, and you can make good money there. And they usually leave the dedicated drivers alone more. It's the way to go. How long can you legally ride on PC? The DOT doesn't have a distance. Your company may have a distance, but the DOT says the longer you're on it, the more you'll have to prove that it's a personal move, especially if you have a load with you, like if you're going to the nearest safe legal parking. But they don't actually have a limit. They don't ever limit your time or miles on that. They don't have a time limit on pre or post trip or anything like that either. Last week I watched a fly doing a log on a roller wiener. His feet must have been on fire, but he wouldn't give it up. Look, that should be another poster like the cat hanging from that string. Never give up. I hate drivers who park in the spot next in line to fuel and go to take a shower and get mad if you squeeze by to get fuel and block them. Yeah, what are you doing? That's not the shower parking spot. What are your answers about CalArc? I don't know that much about CalArc transportation at the moment. Maybe the fly was for sale. Oh, free flies with it? What do people think about CalArc? There's a lot of people on here. Usually I have people from different carriers on here. What is the East Armpit in West Florida? There can be an East Armpit in every state. And sometimes I'll get a letter from somebody that, I want to go local. I get this letter and say, but I can't because I live, 150 miles from everywhere, and there's 9 people in my town, and 6 of them are my family. And I'm like, well, you have to move. Oh, we don't want to move. Okay, then I guess you're stuck. I mean, seriously, you got to be willing to do something for what you want. So you may have to move closer to a larger city if you want to do a local job. Our model Mac 2-stick Mac with a window in the back. Wear a hard hat to not knock myself out. Oh, that was nice. I never heard the hard hat one on there. I had a two-stick Mac dump truck many years ago, but it didn't have a window because it had a dump bed in it. Right, so that was the deal back then. Cash is King Trucking, you must have lunch today. You gave the roller winners to the cat, and I had the catnip. I don't know who got the better deal in that. The duplex was a wreck, breaking the law, breaking my wallet on roller wieners. That's the good thing about roller wieners. They don't break your wallet. Trinix. I've only driven dedicated for 5 years. You'll never go back. Currently doing Boise to Russellville and back each week. Isn't that great? I mean, you do the same. A lot of people don't like it. Okay. Same thing every week or every day or however it works. You know what your check is going to be. And generally they leave you alone, stuff like that. That's really the way to go, especially at a mega carrier. You can actually do very good at one of those places. Or a dedicated thing, where you're on for, off for, something dedicated. How do you do the form over the road time limit? How do you do the form over the road? I don't know what you mean about the form. Depending on your ELD provider, your company may be able to set a limit on your PC. They can. Your company can set a limit or a distance. We'll kick you back to drive if you go over the company set limit. Yeah, there's no DOT limit. Your company can set limits, or like here, the limit is 0. You can't use it at all. Roller wiener special this week, 1 for the price of 2. Really? Steel Horse is saying 2 for $3. That is getting to be a great deal. I agree. Dedicated or intermodal is the way to go for a mega carrier. Yeah, as long as the intermodal goes good. I hear conflicting stories, usually from JB Hunt drivers. Some love it, intermodal, oh, I'm making all kinds of money. And then there's some that are be like, oh, there's no money, they're sitting me around too much. So I don't know. It depends on that. I drove an R-model Mac with a triplex. Needed 4 arms. Yeah, where do you get your extra arm to shift that thing? One through the steering wheel. What are you shifting with your leg that you're not clutching with? Holy mackerel. Many great places to park in Texas. Too bad I don't see them till you pass them on the interstate. Are those on that app? Maybe those would help out. Why doesn't Love have reserved parking? Love's is trying to do the opposite. They're saying, look, we don't charge you to park here. And so that's kind of a business thing. They may do it someday. I don't see why they wouldn't, but they don't do it because they say, look, all our spots are free. You don't have to pay to come to the Loves. Broke down in Texas. This told me to back empty with no pay. No, we don't do that. Drive back with no pay? I don't think so. I'd say, I'm sorry, you must have called some other driver. So I'd say, so I'm going to hang up now, and then you can call the correct driver back. The barbecue trucker driver started driving in 80. Wow. Drove a 62 International D for Halliburton. Normally weighing 100,000 pounds. That would have been really something. Wow. Do you have a picture of that? Kenworth Ryder. Your night started. Where did I go here? I'm lost my spot again. Where's East Armpit? I'm way back here. Many places to park in Texas. I'm close. You're right. They did have a great visibility. Yeah, your father at a 74 with a 318 13 speed pulled a potbelly. It was a beast. Yeah, look, you could see everything. I mean, what could you not see in there? Holy mackerel. Omar says, Yang 2020, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. You're part of the Yang gang. He was talking about trucking just this week. He's not going to let drivers lose their jobs. That's what he said. Andrew Yang, you all know him. We know and love him. Well, Bill did not like the triplex. All right. If you want to know more about CalArc, get into it to the YouTuber Pale Rider. Oh, does he drive for CalArc? All right. There's one way to do it. Trap Media. Park at the fuel line most of the time before showers because they pull doubles. Still, I mean, if you're blocking, here's the thing. If you're blocking a fuel island, what do you think? No shower if you're blocking a fuel island. And you just can't block the fuel line. Hope you all stay safe out there. We've had a lot of bad accidents. I know. Put the phones down and can wait. I agree. I'm going to out and enjoy my day off. Thank you, Bill Land, for being here. I appreciate it. Maybe we'll see you next Monday at 1 p.m. Trinex got a little pocket truck stop guide. Any truck stop thing, you don't have to see them from the interstate. You don't know if there's parking. They break your wallet when you eat 10 each night. Yes, that's excessive wiener consumption. I was the only one who know how to drive it. Yeah, I would. You'd have to show me how to drive that thing. That's coming back to Wisconsin from Texas. GM is going out because they're not great. Their product is poorly built. They deserve it. Only the best should succeed. I never, even though it's politics a little, I never agreed with the government bailing anybody out. You rise or fall on your own, on your own benefit. That's how it should have gone. Adco, thank you, Mark and crew. Thank you, Clay. Flies on Whirl Arenas, extra protein. Look, and that's all good for you, right? That's all good for us. The triplex was the extra truck when one was down. Yeah, that's how we had a 13 speed for a while. It was always an extra truck, and then less and less people could drive it, and they got rid of it. Todd, hey Mark, it's Todd. What's funny is I had a driver at the same company as mine tell me the freight was down and money was no good, but then went out and bought a brand new Pete. Oh, well, maybe because it's kind of like anticipation, right? He's using this mind thing. If I buy a new truck, then I'll get more freight, right? Did it work? That's a question. Did it work? I mean, how do you get the ELD malfunction form to the company if you're over the road? Is there a time limit to notify them? Yeah, the company will then send the company has to send an email to, I don't know what the email is. Company notifies the FMCSA that an ELD has malfunctioned, and then they get an email back, and that's how it works. I don't know how all that backside of it works like that. We just have a form. Since we're back every day, you would just hand it to them. I don't know how you would get it to them on the road. I guess you could, I don't know how you would get it to them. Trucker Path works too. I don't know if they accept that form through, scanning. That might be a way to do it as well. Intermodal at JB Hunt in Atlanta is not what or how you can do, but rather who you know. That's a lot of jobs, right? Bad thing is you're his only driver. Well, that's good for you. That puts you in a better position to negotiate. The heady trucker, Yang, right, the guy who wants to automate your industry, then you and 1.7 million lose their jobs. He said he loves drivers, Andrew Yang. I heard him talking about it. JB Hunt Intermodal in Memphis is not great. 22 a load and 30 cents a mile. You got to send a macro to get paid for empty moves. What the heck? Chassis moves? I never made over 600. That's the thing of it. People write in and on just the reverse. They always talk about JB Hunt has these ads. We have our own gate that we get to go in. We don't have to wait at the intermodal yard or anything like that. Is that not how it works there? Did they have their own gate in Memphis? Sea Hill, good day, Mark and drivers. Beautiful day on I-85 in Georgia. The new loves at 147 exit. 114 free spots, 8 showers, 3 restaurants. That's pretty good. Could I do a review of the old video, The Ugly Truth of Trucking? It has 1 million views. It does have a lot of views. I mean, that kind of video, which is the guy from K&B, that kind of speaks for itself. I mean, really, I'm sure everybody has seen it. I didn't know about it till people told me about it. I watched it. That's incredible. I don't know what else to say about it. That video really does speak for itself. That is how trucking is at a lot of places. Todd, the regular dispatcher, sick today. Guy they assigned this guy your delivery moved up to a pre-planned load. I'm seeing this guy roller wieners through Uber Eats. That's awesome. Keep this guy. Say, hey, why don't you send somebody with the flu to go talk to your other dispatcher to keep him out of there? James Faust, all old Detroits are mentioned in the Bible. The part where it says screaming demons will rule the earth. Yeah, that was about true for a while, wasn't it? Can't wait to get back to the shop management, grilling steaks and rib burgers. We can get paid while we eat. That's even better. Cartage, the app Trucker Path is a must-have. It will show you all the truck stops, also show you weigh stations and whether or not they're opened. And I was wondering if it was accurate, but people said it is absolutely very accurate. So I noticed that trucks now have 2 fuel gauges. What is DEF fuel? Right, DEF, diesel exhaust fluid, has to be put in separately, and it has its own gauge, and it gets injected into the exhaust stream to clean the exhaust so that we don't all die from the fumes. So our trucks hold about 12 gallons. It varies per truck, but yeah, it gets its own gauge. They should park tow trucks near the fuel island. After 15 minutes, you get towed. I agree. To offend steering, your company has to pay. One too many of these tows is a way to thin the herd. Oh, I always thought they ought to tow these trucks out of fuel islands. You sit and sit and sit. I have to back out of half the time. We just have to call our ELD department and must do all the other stuff. Yeah, okay. So your place just handles it. You run your paper log, and they must do the email back to the FMCSA and all the back end stuff. DEF fuel's a money racket. Yeah, it adds what, $30 to every few fill-ups. DEF's for air pollution control. Yeah, doesn't the air seem cleaner now? Rusty Nail, stop tolerating these pretentious guards and office fools being rude to you. Truckers are treated poorly because we tolerate it. I agree. Partly, some people are, disgruntled police officers that they couldn't get in, right? It all starts with us too. Don't come out and being an idiot to people, but don't tolerate somebody being rude to you. Text or email to company. The company sends an ELD extension at dot.gov. There's the email, and they send to the state the company's registered. The state will send a letter to the company for the driver to carry. Perfect. They do not have their own gate. That might be the problem. But they have an app that every other truck company had. It was really disappointing. Well, in Indianapolis, Al Johns, they are advertising, at least for their ads for intermodal, that they have their own gate. JB Hunt has its own gate, so you don't have to wait. So do you think that would have helped your day if you had your own way in? And it's hard for me to believe they have their own gate, but I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Is there anyone that works at a rail yard that can say, do certain companies have their own gates? Happy for happy. DEF is diesel exhaust fluid. It's a racket and supposed to help with pollution. JB Hunt told you could make 125 before fuel. Wow. Before fuel, maybe. Am I still doing crap company of the year? No, that has changed. I don't do as many companies as I did. That has changed around to things that we should consider at a company. Night weekend dispatch is the worst. Waited all day Saturday to get a pre-plan after delivery. That is solved partly by having a dedicated run. Dedicated runs can solve a lot of these trucking problems, like dispatch. If you know what you're doing every day, you do the same thing every day, you don't have to worry about waiting for a dispatch. The problem is you have to do the same thing every day, and many, many people come in and don't like doing it. But if you don't have to wait, you don't have to worry about parking, you don't have to worry about all those things, is a dedicated run worth it? I'll have to relearn. A lot has changed in the past 10 years that you've been away. Yes. And unfortunately, if you come in at a large place, they're going to put you with a trainer. Only UPS has their own gate at rail yards. Okay, says Wild Bill, so he may have some inside knowledge about that. JB Hunt does say that in their ads. We have our own gate at the rail yard so that there's no waiting for you in and out right away at the rail yard. No waiting. I don't work there, so I don't know if that's true. I thought, oh, that's a good idea. Then you wouldn't have to wait at the rail yard. Watch the Swift driver wash his truck cab at the fuel line in Ontario. Oh, did he use the squeegee? I love that too. When they use the squeegee, is this guy wearing flip-flops? It seems to go together with somebody squeegeeing off their truck. Right, because does Swift not pay for truck washes or something? Come on. Now, last week y'all recommended I watch the Swift versus the Border Patrol video, which I did do. All right, it's incredible. It is that guy. I don't have the link in there. I should have, right? I did go and watch it. Wild Bell sent me a link to it, which I appreciate. That was really something. This guy went to the Border Patrol who got dragged out of his truck. I thought he was getting dragged out of a windshield. He didn't, unfortunately. But here's the thing. This guy started filming this, if you noticed in the video, before he even got there. So he knew there was going to be a problem because the film shows him setting up the camera almost 3 minutes before he gets to the Border Patrol checkpoint. That's crazy, okay? So he knows he's going to be a problem. Is it a problem to answer a question at a Border Patrol, are you a U.S. citizen? That was all he was being asked. I love that the first agent, he asked him, and the guy's like, I prefer not to answer. He's like, go park over there. I thought, oh, I know it's going down. Once somebody says rights or something like that, I know, because I always watch Cops or whatever for that kind of stuff in Live PD. When somebody either says, I'm a sovereign citizen, or I know my rights, or they mention the Constitution, I know somebody's being tased and somebody's being dragged out of a vehicle. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. And I never saw a point to it because I was getting some grief from people here last week that said, oh, you don't understand, people have rights. All right, so I watched it, but I don't know what he's trying to prove. I really don't know what he was trying to prove in that video. Anybody who was on that guy's side, I'd really like to know what is he trying to prove while he's being dragged out of the truck and presumably losing his job. Todd says, never worked for a company because of the model truck, but talked with a driver at Consoné, the new Kenworth T680, liked quite a bit more than my 2020. Right, but you wouldn't change for a truck, but maybe there might be other reasons to go there, right? Joseph says, I heard in TTI in Wisconsin is a good company. Van, reefer, covered wagons, flatbeds. You should do a review. Oh, I heard Millis in Wisconsin is a good company. Oh, I mean Heartland, right. What's up? Wang is in the house, checking in from Redondo Beach. Nice. On 30 for a reset. Thank you for being here. I love it. Comfortable man, Swift never paid for truck wash. Oh, okay, so 8 months. I guess they don't pay for truck washes. So they're like, go squeegee your truck. It seems like they'd want them washed. I mean, heck, they even wash them every 2 weeks here. So, but I guess you do what you got to do. What do drivers do? Do they just pay for their own truck washes there? Wow, Bill, so 40 trucks in line and they're all JB Hunt. What's the difference? That's a problem too. I don't know. The way they made it seem in the ad, it's like, you kind of just zoom right in because it's like JB Hunt Express Lane or something. That's the way the ad made it seem. I don't know. Because they're trying to offset the lower pay because they're showing a really low pay per mile. So you need to make it up in the number of loads you can do. So to increase that, they have made it faster to get in the rail yard. If it works, it would be great. Mason, the nighttime driver at JB Hunt Intermodal can make decent, but the daytime drivers don't much because of all the live loads they do. Oh, so the deal is to go work at night so you don't have to do live loads. Rusty Nail, what's up with the companies referring to dispatchers as fleet leaders? Ridiculous. Who says that? Why are they fleet leaders maybe? Right, that would be just as bad. The barbecue trucker has to go with a trainer, but you're looking forward to learning all the new stuff. We can learn from each other. Yeah, you know more. You likely know more about trucking than your trainer. So, yeah, there'll be a lot to show them. And depending when you start, you might get to show them some winter driving. Well, you know why Swift won't let drivers wash their trucks? It's the more dirt on the truck, the less the scratches or damage. Oh, okay, that's not a bad reason. Cash is king. I haven't dealt with anyone at work that isn't employed by my company since I started. No rude guards or disrespectful office staff. Okay, so you're only going to your own places. But look, that doesn't happen that often, honestly. Everybody that goes to all these places, how often is somebody seriously rude to you? Not really that often. If we're nice to them, it doesn't really happen a super lot, right? Oh, cat scales are going up too. Did you see this? $12, $250 for a reweigh for first 2 reways, and then your final reweigh after your legal. So the most you'll pay is $19.50. But I wanted to put that out there for anybody that uses cat scales. They're going up in price. Cat, get it? Cat scales? Cat scales. Look, I tried, but they are raising their prices. $12, $250 a reweigh for 2 reways, and then they'll waive the reways until you get your final reweigh where you are legal. So the max you'll pay is $19.50, which seems like a lot. It has to be within 24 hours at the same cat scale. Clay was in Sydney, Nebraska, and watched a truck get towed at the Love's fuel line across Cabela's. Always a madhouse there. It's about time. You know what? What was he getting towed for? Any idea? I mean, had he been sitting there? Barbecue Trucker's going to start in January. That's a good time to start. There's not as many people starting at that time. And where are you going to go if you want to say? You don't have to say if you don't want to. Swift does request truck washes. You pay for it, and they will reimburse you. Plus, some terminals have great truck washes. Oh, okay. So they have their own truck washes. You pay it, and they will reimburse you. I just don't like that. It's their truck. The Swift, 16,000 trucks. How many billions of dollars of business they do? Hey, can you front us $40? We'd really appreciate it. Nah, I'm not so big on that. They told me that here once. I waited for a light. For some reason, there was some kind of disaster. I had to wait and wait. I waited like 2.5 hours to have a light changed. Okay, which they got to pay. They pay me for that time. So, and they actually sent a service truck out because they were busy. They sent a service truck out to change this light. And then they're like, well, you should have just, bought a light and changed it yourself. I'm like, no. And then get paid back. I'm like, no, you, big company, should just change my light, stop the people from doing what they're doing and have them change the light for 2 minutes. But instead, you're willing to pay me for 2.5 hours, make the load late over a light. I said, that's not happening. I don't front you money. You're a big place. So that's crazy. And Swift doing that is crazy. And the driver shouldn't do it. They go, no, I'm not paying for your truck wash on your truck. Shippers and consignees are always rude to me. No matter how nice I am. Guess I'm an ale, maybe. Maybe it's you. If it's everybody, right, it's you. Can repeat the info on cat scales. Yeah, cat scales are going to be $12 and $250 for a reweigh for the first 2 reways. And then you'll be able to get unlimited reways. That's what it said on there. Until you're legal on the same load. So if after 2 you're still not legal, supposedly the next ones are free until you're legal, as long as it's within 24 hours. And then the last reweigh is also charged. So $19.50 would be the maximum amount you'd pay for a scale. That's a lot, but that's what CAT is doing. And apparently that starts right away. That's to improve their quality or whatever. They're just raising their prices. I thought a Stevens Transport trainer in Gary to park and line up his truck correctly after he almost hit me twice. That's sad. You have to go train their trainers. You should film that and then charge Stevens from that. Corey, hello from San Antonio. I could never forget that place. Thank you for being here. How's it weather down there today? Landstar, best place to lease your truck? Island Boy, I don't know. No, I don't think you can lease one from Landstar. Maybe they start doing that, but I don't think so. How much does the cat weigh? That cat is 19 pounds. How about that? Well, Bill, yeah, I'm doing the best I can do here. Michael, do you have maybe not, I don't know what they're doing there. If it's everybody, though, it's you. Think about that. Barbecue truck or Maverick or Swift. I just been hearing about this Maverick that it's 2-year contract. I'm kind of sad about that. I didn't realize that it's a 2-year deal at Maverick. They have a guaranteed pay where Swift doesn't have a guaranteed pay, but the contract's 2 years and Swift doesn't have a contract. So it's a tough choice. Depends where you live, that kind of thing, Part of it is where you live because then you can get home. And what you want to do, Maverick no longer has the refrigerated division, so it's you'll be doing some work at Maverick, although Swift also has flatbeds. Cassius King says refrigerator warehouses almost always have a rude guard or lazy office staff that would love to waste your day. They're like, whose day can we waste today? The refrigerator always took longer to get loaded or unloaded. That's why you should always get paid for that detention time. Comfortable man, you work there. I begged to get your truck washed. They never approved it. The truck washers are a joke. I don't understand it. I mean, Don't they want clean trucks going down the road? Earth4NJ, hey Mark, it's your friendly neighborhood Werner driver. All right, what's the Werner wash policy? Can you wash your truck at Werner, and how often do you get to do it? And who pays for it? Headed to Laredo. I conferred the lemonade question. If there is a truck, a legit truck, probably from Mexico that came up with lemonade, that's well worth it. Super delicious. Definitely Maverick, great pay for everything you do. $200 to go into New York City. That's true. I mean, Maverick pays better, but you have this 2-year deal that I'm just finding out about. I thought it was a year. Maybe it has changed. Maverick 2-year contract. That's kind of crazy. Taking a shot that loves, he came running out with his duffel bag. Okay, good. Tow that guy away. Mark, you know what? They should shut his hot water off in his shower, too. I mean, come on. Other people need to, what if you were in a gas station? Of course, you could just go to another one, and all the places were full with people getting Slurpees, okay? That aggravates me, too. Go park your car outside. Go park your car up front. Don't walk up from the gas pump. It's the same with the car, although I guess since I don't get much gas, it doesn't bother me as much maybe in my car. I don't know. I know, but some places you go into, don't matter how nice you are, the person on the other one just wants to suck the joy out of your day. That's certainly true. But if it's everybody, it's you. Some people are just like that. They're having a bad day. Like they all say, look, we don't know what happened to those people, in the last few weeks. Who knows what happened to them? So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, certainly, to get the day started. And maybe we can improve their day. How about that? Corey said it's hot down here. Yikes. I remember. Comfortable man, I worked there also, so I was asked to wash the truck. That doesn't make any sense. How's the CFI phone holder doing? Boy. Hear it? That's how solid that is. That is a solid. CFI has got it going on with that. They ought to be on the show. I don't know why they're not on here. CFI, they have like the best phone holder ever. How hot is it? Oh, right. Nice. I'm going to get the gong out for that. Prime, they pay you in company credits for minor truck fixes. What is a company credit? It actually works pretty well when you make it back to a terminal. What do you get for a company credit? UPS has their own gates at rail yards at pulling UPS trails. Any company can use that gate. Does it help? Does anybody work for UPS? Does it help? I mean, is that a serious thing that could help a driver having their own gate so that a driver can know that? 91 with a heat index of 99. Yikes. When I drove for Aero in the 90s, not Aero. That's what they wanted you to do. Purchase any lights or equipment, turning receipts, and they would reimburse. Yeah, because of Aero. Aero. Oh, my gosh. Bring them up. That's something. They're still trying to do that. Well, they weren't saying. They came to me later about it. Oh, we had to pay you and send a service truck. I'm like, yeah, that's because you don't have your act together. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, well, you shouldn't be doing that. Hey, look, I told the guy, I've been here a lot longer than you, right? I'm not doing any repair to your truck, period. I'll sit and you could pay me. You're the one making the load late and paying me to do nothing. Well, we wait for a service truck to come up with a light. Okay, so that is not going to happen. Because here, like at many places, if you get stopped or you get an inspection and you have a problem that you should have known about, okay, you get in trouble for that because they go, you should have had that fixed before you leave. And here, especially when they have a policy to pay you for all this time, they want you to fix it. And so I enforce it on them 100%, and you should too. Don't go out with problems that you notice, get them fixed. And then they're like griping. I'm like, I'm not going to hear any of it. I'll just go with that to the heady trucker like Jack Nicholson. You can live with it. All right. Hey, everybody's got to be something. Unless it's really close, you should only need to weigh your truck once and then do the calculation in your head. I agree. But that's what Cat Scale said about that. Apparently, there's people scaling the truck like 40 times. The acceptable, exceptional. I'd lean Swift if picking between the two. Can't believe I'm saying this. Well, if you want to do vans, I guess you don't have any choice. So it's van and flat. And part of it is where do you live? Because you need to get home. If you want to get any home time, I think you're better off having a place that's close to your house. They're more likely to get you home. If you're running in an area that they don't run, that's another problem. So that's, and if you're in East Armpit and they don't have a terminal, their East Armpit terminal just closed, I don't know what to say. Guess it was different with dispatchers and most of their truck washes would not operate. Nice. Been to many of the terminals and most didn't work. And if it's only spraying with water, that's not going to be great. The heady trucker, you can wash it once a month. Company pays for it. All right, that's all right. Gets you cleaned up. Werner pays a wash a month. I will say, apparently that's better than Swift. Is hauling fuel worth it? Hauling fuel in Indianapolis, they just had an ad, 33-mile length of haul. So home every day, pays good. You're going to need a tanker and hazmat, of course, and be able to back in and drive around in tight spots, because when you're in the Quickie Mart, there might be cars in there. But if you want to do it, yeah, absolutely. May need to stop smoking. More if needed, depending on the job drops. Okay. The Streak and Beacon does a good job. I agree with you. Todd, there are same guys who park in a handicap spots and fake limp. That's not how it works. My wife, right, who has a handicap placard legit from the doctor, cannot walk far, has knee and breathing problems. Okay, that aggravates me to no end. I call the police all the time on people, not at the truck stops, right, but just in their car. Same thing. You don't have the thing, I'm calling you in, period. Go get the placard, and then I don't say anything to you because I don't know what your problem is by looking at you. So I'll assume you got the thing. I can't say anything to you. But if you're going to, if you're going to park in there, you better have that handicap. Just limping it in, that's not cutting it for me. Ask CFA about their new lease purchase. Oh, yeah? Will they give you a free phone holder with that, though? I doubt it. I didn't know they had a lease purchase over there. Do you know anything about it? Let's put that out there. Got down here, that's what George Bush said. Yeah, exactly. The cleaner your truck, the less miles that you run. That's why your truck's so clean, to prevent extreme boating day. Okay. Maverick has changed their hiring area, but has not updated their hiring map. I lived near Dallas, and they said you were no longer in their area. Oh, really? I was disappointed to hear about the 2-year contract thing there. That really bothered me. And somebody wrote in and said, hey, do you know they have a 2-year contract? The recruiter's not mentioned a 2-year contract. Ask him. Yeah, ask him about it, seriously, because somebody emailed me about it. And I'm like, I thought it was a year, but they're like, no, it's 2 years. He's ignored your 2 emails. You're going toward SWIFT. I'll tell you this. Any place that won't answer your questions or ignores your emails, how's it going to be? They're trying to get you. How's it going to be once you're already there? I mean, seriously. And that just could be a bad recruiter or something, but if you want, you should call him maybe and get another recruiter, but that's not a good sign, right? Go SWIFT and then go dedicated at SWIFT, and it's a way better deal. UPS does plenty of business, and they pay big money. All rail yards should bend over backwards to get the business. Does it increase the speed that the drivers get in and out of there? Walt Broderick told me they don't need glass haulers out of DFW. Oh, you're going to go in the glass? That pays even better there. You fake it till you make it. Sometimes big rig wrecks. You can use Prime Terminal stores to buy groceries and gear. The last 5-second trailer light change paid $25. Oh, who pays for the light? I'm seeing, are you coming out ahead do you have to buy the light, but then you're still netting money? And that's not bad. That's still not bad. The load is almost maxed out, then several ways might be necessary. Yeah, they'll just do an unlimited amount. That's not too bad of a deal. At least you're getting something. Here, right, if I'd have done it myself, it would take them forever. They're just bad at paying you back. And it's their deal. They have a deal, and so I enforce it on them. Dang keyboard, it's hot down here. That's what George Bush said, yeah. I picked up a Stevens sand truck last Monday that tried to beat a train. Didn't end well. Yikes. I know they do some of that down there. Don't ever try to beat a train. That's certainly not worth it. You live 12 miles east of 75, a bit north of McKinney. That's what they told you. I didn't know they weren't going to Dallas anymore. I thought, are they reducing their hiring area? Mark, what's the deal? I heard they will get rid of the 30-for restart and make it voluntary. Also that California won't need emissions. There's talk about this California emissions thing. The 30-for restart will not be, well, it's not, okay, let's put it this way. The 34, I shouldn't say it like that. The 34-hour restart is voluntary right now. You're never required to do a restart. You can do a restart when you want to, when you qualify for it, or when you need to do a restart. But it's already voluntary, so you don't have to do one. And I don't know that California is ever going to eliminate emissions other than an electric truck. That might be what you're thinking of, is that California at some point may say electric trucks, which I wrote this down too. Freightliner, which has an electric Cascadia that NFI and somebody else is testing out. The batteries are made in China. Don't you love it? Oh, and the government has granted an exemption for electric trucks so they can be 82,000 pounds gross for the extra weight of the batteries. So, but the 34-hour restore is already voluntary. Joshua, you can't wash Swift equipment because it's dirt hiding all the flaws. Maybe, right. That's what's holding the wings on behind the trucks. Hauling gas is as good a job as long as you don't get in big city for percentage. It should be hourly. And I've seen some of them paying hourly. I think that'd be better. Because if you're sitting in line trying to fill the thing back up at the where you pick up the gas or diesel or whatever you're picking up, you're not making any money where you're sitting there. Get it hourly. Ask the Swift recruiter how much you're paid for detention. That will get his attention. Yes. Ask both of them what you get for detention and layover pay. On my website, truckinganswersnation.com, there's a list of questions on there that you can ask the trucking company, right? So check those questions out and ask them some of those things and see what they say. Do you think the truck stop should time you in the shower, for example, no more than 20 minutes? I don't know about timing you in the shower. What it should do is time you. I think it should have a timer in that they should check on you after a certain period of time to make sure you're not dead or fell over and can't get up. But I do think that if you're in front of the fuel island, they ought to be out there walking back and forth, right? All you can do in the front of the fuel island, if there's anybody waiting, is get your fuel receipt and leave. Because that's for more people fueling. So if you're holding somebody up, you have to go. If there's nobody there, then it doesn't make any difference, I guess. But otherwise, if there's people waiting, move out of the way. It should just be people doing that. Fatty 2x4 is here, which we love saying every week. Thank you for coming in. The acceptable exceptional Maverick ignored you too. What is the deal? Why do they have a recruiting number going to ignore people? I paid for the light and they reimbursed. All right, that's interesting. So the light's free and they give you basically $25 for fixing it. All right, that's a deal then. Then I might be in for that. See, if I'd have fixed the light, I'd have had to pay for it, which I presumably would have got reimbursed, but I'd only got a minute or two of pay for it, which they'd probably be like, oh, we probably won't even pay you. Oh, it's just 1 minute. So I wouldn't have got it, so I'm not doing it. But your way, yeah, that's a good way, and that's a good idea for them. It's a good way for them to get stuff fixed on the road quickly without doing like me, having to send a service truck and having me sitting there. 196 lights on the trailer can get expensive. Oh, that'd be great. I need 196 lights reimbursed. They all went out. So UPS does move in and out much faster than a non-UPS vehicle. So if JB Hunt actually did have its own gates, it seems to me then that it would help. It would help the drivers to get in and out of the rail yards. That's what they're advertising. So I guess you're going to have to question them heavily on how they do that in your area. Did I see all the people driving through the floodwaters in Texas? Cash King, yes. I-10 flooded in Texas. The Petro in Beaumont. Did everybody see the pictures of this Petro in Beaumont, Texas? Oh my gosh, there's trucks flooded up to their doors. I don't know how this happened. I guess the floodwaters just came in so fast. Everything flooded, and there's tons of people flooded all over down there. I-10 was closed last I looked. I-29 in Iowa is also closed for flooding. Yeah, if you're going in the area, that is a big mess. Somebody wrote earlier that they were headed to the Houston area, and they haven't wrote back, so I think they may be flooded at the moment. Todd, your company pays for unlimited washes. That's nice. That's trailer washouts. That's Schuster Tractor only at Yard in Iowa. Well, look, with the washout, you might be able to talk the guys into doing the tractor for a small amount of money or something like that. Really? So you can work past your 70 per week or you can't? Could you elaborate or explain to me better? Okay, Oscar, you cannot work past your 70 hours, but the 34-hour restart has never been mandatory. It's only voluntary. You can use it if you want. You may not need to use it. Depending on how your week goes, you might not need to use it because you'll pick up hours, by running on a recap. So 8 days ago, say 7 hours goes off, you pick those hours up today. You don't have to use it. You still can't exceed your hours of service, certainly. So if you're at 70, you can use a restart or you can wait till midnight. Say at midnight, you pick up 8 hours. But if you're sitting through a restart, then maybe at 2 p.m. your restart's over and you get your whole 70 hours. It's up to you to decide how to use it. It's just never been mandatory by the DOT that you have to use one. You just can use it. Trump told California they can't restrict emissions on cars. He is talking about the cars out there, that they can't have their own restrictions beyond the federal restrictions. True. That people should be able to buy whatever they want, and the companies shouldn't have to make a car just for one state, for a single state, California. Plus, everybody out there is running on a Tesla anyway, basically, right? Or a Leaf. Or Priuses. I've been hearing that quite a few applicants have been ignored by Maverick. Why? They've already did my background and previous job checks. They won't reply. Well, I don't get it. Call up and say, look, I want to talk to somebody. I mean, that's a real problem. I will say that's a problem. If they don't want to talk to me, then I don't know if I want to work there, because will they reply to you at the company if you have a problem later? My pay is wrong, and then you can't get a hold of somebody. I mean, they're already ignoring you. That's not a great sign. How can CAT stand behind their weight ticket? What's to prevent a driver adding fuel after getting weighed, if they're getting pulled at a scale? I don't understand it either. CAT guarantees their scale ticket, And I don't know how that ever works. That, okay, and then later you're more. Well, see, here's the thing. As soon as you call in a CAT scale ticket to them and say, I got pulled in at a weigh station, they go check their scale. And if it's right, they defend you. So I don't know how they defend you. They go, our CAT scale is correct. So at this time of the day, as of 1 p.m. when this driver weighed, it was correct. So I don't know how many of those they actually have to defend, though. But I've thought of that too. What's to stop you from picking up another load? Maybe you pick up another load. You put 2 more pallets on somewhere, and you have your CAT scale ticket. I don't know. Mark, CFI lease is bad. It's through a 3-part. It has a $55,000 buyout. Nice. At the end, and $1,000 a week. Oh, that's less than prime. 2020, at least it's new. 4-mile fee over miles for running 4 cents a mile. Running over $11,000 a month. Not walk away. Oh, that's sweet. Is that only for CFI drivers, or can we all get in on that? And does it come with a cup holder? Does it come with that cup holder? I'm not sure. Tesla and Audi are testing electric trucks. Tesla is an electric pickup truck, and GP Transco is going to have an electric semi that they're going to get, hopefully in the spring, that I'm going to go drive and do a video about that, I hope. They're at their new terminal in Joliet. They're installing a charging station and stuff for it. It's going to be just a local truck for Chicago. That's how they're doing theirs. So that it'll come back to its terminal every day. Can it go past 70 hours, only work 8.5 hours a day? You never hit 70 and can run forever. Right, that's correct, Trucker Hershey. If it worked out like that, you would never need to do a 34-hour reset. But the 34 is never mandatory. You don't have to take it. Maybe look into Newspawn. Yeah, that, I don't know where you are, but yeah, Newspawn. I will tell you, I'd look into some other place if they wouldn't answer my emails. If they don't want me to work there, I certainly don't want to work there. Michael Cole, afternoon, sat in Amazing Loves in Guthrie, Oklahoma. Was half empty at 10 p.m. last night. Well, that's good at least. Comfortable man, I asked Star Transportation several questions 2 weeks ago. They've not responded. What the heck? Or were these? What did you ask them? I can't imagine what you asked them. What did you say to them? And was this an email? James Faust, gents, for your weekly doctor's appointment. See you next week. Thank you for being here and coming in, and of course with cab over talk. And I do appreciate you being here. I hope that goes well for you. And we'll see you hopefully next week at 1 p.m. Joshua Knight, I remember watching a YouTube trucking video a long time ago. The trucks app has timers on top of the fuel allowance. Oh, I don't know if it would help. As long as they do something about it. That they show you a timer and you know your time is up. Drivers are just like, oh, forget that. I ain't doing nothing, about that. And so they got to get you out of there. And I think hiring a tow truck to sit there, it may cost them something, but boy, that'll get the trucks moved out of there. Caleb is finally here. Thank you for coming in. I have a few things going on, like women biting camels in the testicles, interesting trucking stuff like that. Sleeper trucks at the T and Beaumont now have water beds. Look, some of them, it didn't look like it was high enough. If that truck started, I'm driving that thing out of there. If 196 lights go out at once, you'd get a new switch. Todd, not a company jumper, but 3 months at Iowa company too long between appointment times. Miles are suffering. Right. GP Transco is looking good. Does it look bad to leave a company? It depends. I mean, show them your checks. That's what I would say. Something like that where you're saying, look, and just own up to it. It's, I know I've only been here a little bit, but look at what the money I'm making. I can't live on this kind of money. I need to make money. I'm more than willing to stay at a place if they would pay me some money, but I'm making only a little bit of money. It isn't worth it. You're just going to have to own it and show the proof of why you're leaving. I'm not job hopping. I'm just simply not making any money. Texas Trader had 9 inches of rain in 3 hours. Well, everything's bigger in Texas, including your rainstorms. I would say a year before jumping, but that's only your opinion. I don't know how companies view that. I think, look, it's worth asking them and saying, here's my checks. This is why I have to leave. Red Monkey Trucking is here. I went through Houston yesterday. It's mainly east of Houston that was flooded. And the only thing I heard yesterday was still shut down was the bridge. Oh, the barge. A barge hit a bridge. A bunch of barges hit that bridge. And the bridge is closed. Well, they have like structural engineers. Mike Brady has to come out and check this bridge to see if it's still stable. At least they open that up. Me personally, I'm taking you 30 for a reset and then some. I'm taking 2 days a week off. If a company doesn't like it, they could smooch it, right? I agree with you, but all we're saying here is it isn't mandatory to take that time off. You can work unlimited hours. You just can't drive after you reach 70. Okay, that's correct. I should be more clear on it. You can work after your 70 hours. The DOT only limits your drive time. Okay, let's just be like that. They never limit your work time. You can work as much as you want, 24 hours a day if you want to, unloading trucks or whatever. You just can't drive until you've had the required rest. They only do drive time. That's it. I'm thinking about company driving, but that's probably as far as that will go. You should talk to Cash is King Trucking and see where that goes. CAT only covers gross weight. Oh, so they don't, not individual axles. All right, so you're 78 and you put 6,000 in there, I guess, and then you'd be over gross, right? So would they cover that? They should. It says they guarantee it. But I've always thought that too. What if you just add some pallets? Oscar heard that C.R. England is adding 6 people bunks in their trucks. They're going to get rid of the passenger seat and add more bunks. They're going to do it like the space shuttle. They said they're going to have you standing with Velcro, and they're just going to stand you up in the back, and that's how you'll do it. And they just Velcro you in, and they'll just have tons of drivers in there. A guy at my company hit a low bridge on the I-29 detour. Not sure if he made a wrong turn, but be cautious. Exactly. These detours that those dang cops, that the people set up, they may not be truck-ready routes, so be very careful if you get off of the interstate. I'm going to meet with a few Maverick drivers soon. We'll ask them questions. Yes, that's not a bad idea, too, if you could do that. See ask them why nobody's answering your questions. There's spell check. All right. I'll go. You're good on it. Chrome Daddy, I heard Maverick was on a hiring freeze because their driver turnover is so low. Then they shouldn't recruit. They should put that out there. We're not recruiting at the present time. Not just get everybody's information and not answer them. That's no way to do it. Joshua, by the way, life longer here, right? Great channel for trucking information, says JP. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Comfortable man, it was an email. Okay, ask them if they had an APU on their trucks. If not, then what was their idle policy? Must be serious stuff. Do they think that's not some kind of legitimate question? That's a totally legitimate question, right? How am I going to sleep in your truck? We better not answer this guy. This guy knows something about trucking. TJ Jones in the Bull of the Woods is here. Greetings from Nebraska. What's going on out there? Big Rig Rex. The pilot of Flying Chasers west of Knoxville has timers, but what do they do about it? So they have a timer, and how long is the timer on for? By the way, yeah, okay, I'm thinking Memphis, right? How long does it say, and what do they do about it? Worked for CFI in the mid-90s, of course. I checked their pay now. It's only 2 cents more than you were making in the 90s. So what you're really saying, if you'd have stayed, you would have gotten a raise. I think that's what you're trying to say. Todd with pilots loves points, no need to shower. Buy new clothes, only have 4 points. Oh, okay, you could just buy clothes. Look, that's better than some people do. They don't buy clothes or shower. Randy, the healthy highwayman, you keep forgetting I'm live. You're here now. Okay, I'm live every week at 1 p.m. Don't forget. Thank you for coming in. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about women eating camel testicles, Freightliners, batteries are made in China, FedEx is hiring people, the Catskills are going up, the Swift versus Border Patrol video. Holy moly. Is the new hours of service in use yet? Oh, no way. They just extended the, as I have here too. Okay, comment period on that. I did a video about that too on my Sunday rant, that the comment period is extended 14 days. So you have another month to make comments basically. I already commented. You should go in there and comment. I have a link in the description of this video as well as the one from yesterday, so that you can click right through and go post your comment. Tell the DOT what you think. There were only, as of noon today, there were 1,356 comments in nearly a month. That's only a third of what there were on the proposal. So if you want your comment to be heard by them, you better go make it. Nobody's commenting. Maverick, they've raised their pay and are now retaining drivers where they weren't before. But recruiting is just getting the memo. Well, then they shouldn't recruit. I mean, this sounds terrible. Just say, sorry, we're not taking any applications right now. We're full. If you want, we'll take your name and number and put you on a waiting list. That would be better than getting your information and just never contacting you, because now it seems like I don't want to work there. Joshua says all truck stops should have a dedicated tow company. I was getting service at a Love's and the mechanic said that a few drop trailers have been there for weeks. Well, they should tow them out of there. Isn't there a policy? I think all these truck stops, right? If the drop trailers are towed away, get it the heck out of there. Joliet needs a name change. Cash King never heard two people pronounce it the same way. Oh, Joliet, right. We're from the Blues Brothers. Here and checking in from Nashville, Mike Walls, thank you for being here today. And I just moved my spot right there. Okay, good. Of course, Cat-scale weighs steer drives in tandems. They do, but they guarantee the gross weight. Mega carriers are going to start pulling doubles. One for freight, one for bunk. Oh, that's good, like an Amtrak. They'll pull triples, and they'll just haul. Oh, I see. They could pull an extra a regular 53-footer, and that'll just be bunks. And there'll be doors. You can just get right into the truck. Like Amtrak. I think the towing company could make money just hanging out at the truck stop, and when the trucking management gives them the okay, they can pull the truck from the fuel line. Absolutely. Get them the heck out of there. Hey, GP Transco, what's going on? It's good to see you here today. GP Transco is here if you have any questions. They've been full up with calls, believe me, being as they're one of the much better places to work. And that's not just me, that's the news. All right. Hope the new building is going good up there, too. The timer is there for drivers to see who might be leaving soonest. Oh. Well, that doesn't prove anything. They see, oh, this guy's has been here longer. That doesn't mean he's leaving sooner, though, right? There's one guy for drives for Maverick here on YouTube. I even reached out to him and never got a response. Nice. The acceptable, exceptional. Don't tell. Is he recruiting for Maverick too? If he recruits for them and then doesn't answer questions, come on. GP Transco's rolling with the real money. That is the true story, right? And it's not just money at places too. You know, getting treated like you're a professional, that is better than money. I'd rather be treated well than like KB. I always talk about K&B. They have a $1,250 guarantee. Who wants to be micromanaged all day, right? No way. Randy, the healthy highwayman, have been to the Works, Gulf Road in Washington. The Works. That sounds in Glenview though. Super nice. Does the DOT require first aid kit in the truck? I don't think so. I don't think I have one. If they do, then I'm in violation. James, hello from the Bay Ridge in Brooklyn. What's going on with your thin pizza? Todd McGuire, reefer, dry van, money, quality of life, E. It depends what you want to do, right? You know, it just depends. I always thought reefer had longer freight. So I always got the most miles in a reefer. So dry van seemed to have less miles in it for me personally. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. Red Monkey Trucking is here. A recruiter gave you a call, left a message. Good companies to start with. Yeah, there's one right here. Right. It just depends. Part of a good company to start with depends on where you live and what you want to do. How often do you need to be home? You know, a lot of that depends on that kind of stuff. If you live, in the Northwest, a lot of companies don't go there. You know, they just don't go there. If you live in the tip of Florida, you're going to have a lot limited ability to get in at a place. You know, and now I'm finding these places that are extending their contracts and stuff, and that is not great. What do you think about going to truck school yourself and getting your license paid for by the state? I think that's the best way to do it. See if your state Department of Unemployment will pay for your license. A lot of them do. Check with them, and you might get your license paid for nothing. How do you weigh doubles and triples? Same way as any other truck. You can roll them on there one axle at a time and weigh one axle weighing. You know what each axle weighs when you roll them up there. So you roll the tractor on. You'll steers. You got that. Separate them out. Hiring a third recruiter after the crazy times, right? It'll make sure no driver ever gets missed. Well, after that came out in the news, I can imagine. I never even thought about it until you mentioned it. You know, GP Transco article came out in the news that they're like one of the highest paying companies in the country. So I never thought, they're going to get bombarded with calls. And they did. So I had my passenger door window implode on me. Anyone else have that happen? Holy mackerel. Is that, maybe that's a recall. Call the manufacturer. Wow. Years ago, a friend of mine had the sunroof fly out of his car. So that was something too. I'd like to know how anyone as a company driver can make $85,000 pulling a reefer. It's possible. I think it's possible depending where you are. You can make $80,000 plus driving a truck at the right place. Cash is King Trucking, you have to axle out every axle with doubles. Right. Each axle and then add it in. How can I become a recruiter? Oh, there's you go. There's your new recruiter right there for GP Transco. How many trucks does GP have? Well, let's see what GP Transco says about that. Because I don't know how many trucks they have. So this woman, which I'm going to say again for all the people that just came in. So they're at the Tiger truck stop. Okay, man and woman, team driving. They let their deaf dog out. I said blind, but in fact the dog is deaf. All right, so the dog goes in the Camel enclosure. I didn't know they had a Camel there, which I don't agree with, but that's another thing. So they go to get the dog out of the Camel enclosure. She goes in there. Apparently Camel doesn't take kindly to this, sits on her in such a way that allows her to bite the camel testicles and apparently making the camel stand up quickly. And she got out from underneath the camel. She actually had to go to the hospital. They said they took her to the hospital because apparently camels are heavy. But that's what happened. Her and her husband both got charged with trespassing for going in the enclosure and for not having the dog on a leash law violation. And the camel, which was, they said this in the news, was not charged with anything. The police actually said that. So there you go. That's why, and she's a driver. So apparently that's one way, now we know as well, one way to get out from under a camel. Trucker Hershey did window implode near Chicago. Oh, that might be a problem too. Was there a brick behind it? Just remember Joel and Jake Elwood Blues. Right, you'll never mispronounce it again. Exactly. Des Moines sounded like I was shot. I bet that was a mess. Dash Cam Sam, what's going on? It's good to see you. Can't see how that's done. Reefer drivers have all that wait time and shippers. I just can't understand. Look, I got the most miles with the reefer, and I didn't wait that much. So it just depends where you are. I always thought I would get these coast to coast miles. I'd pick up a lot of times at Ghirardelli Chocolates in San Francisco area, San Jose or something out there. And those loads would go over to Pennsylvania usually. I would get the load to Pennsylvania or upstate New York, sometimes Albany. And then you could come down to Hershey, Pennsylvania, and pick up a load. And that went to usually St. Louis, right, Edwardsville over there. And then you'd get a load back up to California and just round trip that. That's what we kept doing with that stuff. And I didn't have any wait time. A lot of times it was a drop and hook. And so when you can run a 3,100 mile load and drop it, that's how you can make $85,000 a year. GP Transco says you're correct. Getting drivers to Florida or Georgia is difficult. Right. When you tell drivers from Florida that home time, they say no. Right. Because you just don't go there. So depending where people live, a good company might not be a good company for them. Oh, they have 400 trucks and 600 trailers at GP Transco. All right. I would say that's getting close to being a large carrier. Is Super Dogs good? I don't know where that is. I like that at GP, not small, not too huge. Yeah, that's not like a gigantic place where you get lost or whatever, but it's big enough where you don't have to sit on the side of the road where they go, we're trying to find the lowest priced place to save $12 on a tire, where you're just sitting there. So, they're right in the sweet spot where they can still buy a new truck, but they don't have 16,000 drivers as some places do, because a lot of places do that. Natural gas and electric trucks. Did anybody know this? Am I the only one, too, that knew this? Natural gas trucks, too, they can also weigh 82,000 pounds. There was, in 2015, I guess I'm an idiot. I just found this out. Because Pennsylvania just passed this law. But in 2015, Congress allowed states to give a waiver to electric and natural gas trucks so that they can gross 82,000 pounds. So that will give Teslas and all these other Daimler, which is Freightliner, all these electric trucks will get a little advantage, plus then 400 more pounds for an APU. Of course, I guess they wouldn't need one, but it depends how much you want to run the batteries for the night. This is just like animal stories with the charming and delightful Uncle Lair. Is the camel going to be okay? Oh, those were the, on WLS, those were just the greatest things. They actually did talk about the camel extensively, really, that the camel was not charged, seemed uninjured, and would be okay. Yes, that would be a good animal story. Can anyone recommend a keto-friendly, non-GMO, gluten-free roller wiener? Holy mackerel. Who's here from California? Mac JR Truckin'. Love the channel. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. We're live every Monday at 1 p.m. for Camel Testicle Talk. Clay, can you really jumpstart a vehicle from a reefer trailer? I don't see why not. I've seen people at the yard starting their car from their semi. Happy for happy. Food service drivers can make $85,000 and more. That's correct. Cisco, those people would also make it in more local than over the road. But over the road, I always found reefer to be better because once you get the load, you're gone with it. And over in San Francisco, right, it was a drop and hook there too. So at Ghirardelli. So I was only there 20 minutes, right? You just give them your empty, just leave it there and get the load in and you would leave. So it depends on where you are and what you're doing. But if you can drop and hook a lot of this and with 3,000 mile loads, yeah, you can make a lot of miles. If someone bit your testicles, you would not be okay. Well, apparently a camel is pretty hardy on this kind of stuff. Who knew? I mean, this is information. This is not information, that you get just anywhere. I'm just bringing this to everybody. Reefers had a lot of stops and multiple wait times in your experience. Yes, your experience, I think, was different. You had more stops in 30 days than I probably had my whole career. Martin puts most of their long hauls on the rail. Yeah, a lot of these places are doing that now. GP goes on intentional hiring freeze just to reevaluate, make sure we don't sacrifice quality and driver satisfaction for growth. More carriers should. That's correct. Growth with bad drivers doesn't help, and growth without driver satisfaction doesn't help, and without quality of the company also doesn't help, where you can't keep up with the freight and you end up losing customers or getting them mad at you. That doesn't help either. So it doesn't help anybody. Those are local runs being paid by the hour. I was referring to over the road. Yeah, I think you can over the road at the right place. Thought you were going to tell a joke when you're talking about the cat story. No, the cat story is unfortunately true, where they were raising their prices. I'm with a mainly reefer company. The time I have a dry van, it's usually a broker load. So how do those go good? Do they make you contact a broker? We need to make trucking great again. Regulations are killing everyone. The regulations didn't change, though. That's the thing about the ELD and stuff, because the ELD 5 mile per hour rule, which is going to be in effect once you get an ELD, will go to driving at 5 miles an hour. That didn't really change. I mean, I really think, that's really being kind of liberal about it, because the law says all drive time, all time spent behind the wheels, the controls, I believe it says, of a motor vehicle, commercial motor vehicle, driving or in readiness to drive is considered drive time. So really sitting, if you're ready to drive, is also drive time. So the 5 miles per hour, really driving 3 miles an hour legally is drive time. They're giving you 5 miles an hour. Actually, they're giving you kind of a break again on it. So what about that? Because that's going to come up here by December if your company hasn't done it. That's the law on an ELD. It must switch to driving at 5 miles per hour. That'll be the law. And they also, companies are telling you to use yard moves, or people are using yard moves to get around this. That's going to be a problem. And a log audit. If your company gets audited and they come in to pull your logs and it has all these yard moves all over the place, I think that's a real problem. How do you later explain a yard move when they pull your logs and they go, all right, have this driver explain these 9 yard moves? What are you going to say? Especially if it's any kind of distance where you were doing a yard move, where you drove down a street, because the ELD's GPS located. It's going to show you driving down the street. I've known drivers that do a yard move while they're on their load. They go right up there at 11 hours, and so they're out of hours, but they're close. They're going to make it back in, say, 5 minutes. They just go instantly onto yard move without, they're still on the road. You can't do that. Okay, that is not a yard move. And so then they'll drive the rest of the way back. You cannot do that. You can't. If there was an accident, you got a problem, you're violating the log. If your company finds out about it, they should write you up. They don't. Most companies would let that go as long as nobody ever hears about it. But it's a real problem. And doing that only makes you get a pay cut, really. Sam, usually it's between my dispatcher and the broker. Good. On occasion, I'll have to call them. That's annoying. They try to get us back to the yard to get a reefer. As long as, they don't, I'm just not a fan of it. That should be the company doing it, really. This story sounds like an episode of Benny Hill. Yeah, except he wasn't chasing camels around on the show. Rest in peace, Benny Hill. Comment on the story about the runaway truck ramp in Colorado. That's used on an average of once a week. I know, that's incredible. So there's a truck ramp in Colorado that gets used every week. It gets used every single week. What are people doing? They did a study every week. Somebody's going in a truck ramp. Does nobody know how to go down a mountain? And look, if people don't know, they should be trained. And I think maybe there should be some kind of, endorsement or something where you can't go west of I-35 or I-25. You can't go west of 25, or north of 20 maybe, or 30 without 40. We'll say 40. No north of 40, no west of 25 without an endorsement. So, because this is crazy every week. That costs the state tons of money for people that are using this once a week. Michael, KB Log Department check on yard moves to ensure it's at the shipper. Good. That's good for that place. Or receiver or whatever. Yeah, but the companies, look, I know for a fact, companies will allow you to use it on the road and not say anything to you about it, and they shouldn't. Red Monkey, I was told we could put yard move with a drop and hook label for doing the drop and hook. Nice, because it's still on duty. I don't know what they care about that, other than the driving part of it, I guess. As long as you're in the yard, theoretically it's a yard move if you're in the yard, right? So, okay. I think they're okay on that. While Bill did 90 yard moves, have them for you in a few hours. Do you have to log each one of those? That'd be something. GP Transco driver was terminated for low performance. He decided to take a company truck and use it to get home from New York to Chicago. Home to New York from Chicago, not picking up the phone as a fleet manager called. Really? I think he should have been stopped on the way. You can't do that. I mean, I'm all for drivers, but gee whiz, this you cannot do. It's not your truck. So that he got that far is a testament to you. You should have stopped him and had him arrested, really. Because I think that's more than low performance. You can't just drive the company truck, however you feel like it. What do people think about that? That is not accept. That costs the company money, right? We're not supposed to just cost the company money. That isn't right. That's not professional. What do people think about that? Okay, Dub, took a new job Thursday. The next Friday's your last day. Oh, okay. Thanks for coming in. Getting the milk moving. WV. Grand theft and grand larceny. I agree. Fast to Fastly 28 USA. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for supporting the nation. Thank you for being here. And of course, Gracie would also like to thank you for that because I see that in there. Unfortunately, she's on her 30-minute break right now. So she can't come out because she's taking a 30-minute break. How do you have your guys out on the road? Probably more than 2 months. No, that's not true. A GP Transco doesn't do that kind of stuff, right? And regardless, Oscar, even if what you say is true, you cannot drive the truck home like that. You can go to the terminal and quit and get yourself home. But doing that, you're not allowed to do that. I wouldn't tell anybody to do that. If you don't like a company that you are in, certainly, you can quit anytime you want if they're not getting you home or whatever. But you don't get to just, drive the truck halfway across the country. That is not right to do. Just like it wouldn't be right to take money from us for not paying us, it isn't right to take the money from a company purposely like that. I don't think that's right. Leonard said you do a 240-mile yard move. Michael, I don't think that's accurate. The critic, need a permit for what? I don't know where we are on that. I have OCD and can't stop cleaning your truck. Oh, great. My car will be parked over here soon. Sam, a friend of mine, just used to be a gravel hauler, and he'd come down that hill into Denver multiple times a day. He's seen countless drivers smoking their brakes on the way down. Why? Why does that happen? They're not being taught how to drive. The critic, you've seen GP in 3 states. If you're on their Instagram, which you should go check out their Instagram. Drivers from GP Transco turn in pictures from all over the country. So I'm sure there's much more to that story. No driver should be driving to New York for home time empty. Exactly. I totally agree. Right. What's the status with the trainee versus Sierra England? Oh, that case will take a while. And I think England will settle that out of court. I don't think we'll hear, beyond that because they'll settle it and say, if you take this money, nobody talks about anything. ELD migration is going to happen tomorrow. Okay, good. No more spending the night at a customer and taking a break while unloading. Well, you'll still, I guess, can put it on whatever you want where you're in there. You can change the setting on it. If you have a sleeper, you can go and sleeper there. People do it. I'm not recommending it, but people do it. I pull Amazon dedicated tours weekly, about 40 plus dropping hooks. Wow. We're allowed to use yard moves on the yard. Right, and some yards are only a mile or 2 apart. So we have 3 or 4 hours of yard moves, but they're all in a yard. So it's all legitimate. For you, if somebody edited that, okay, here's a yard, here's a yard, here's a yard. Some people do them on the road to get back, and that's not allowed. You can't do that. And some companies do it and allow it. Big Rig Rex says 2 more weeks on your contract. Great. The only time drivers are on the road for a long time is when they choose to be. Home time is agreed upon. Yeah, exactly. Not all carriers are bad. People get hosed by a lot of places. And so it doesn't spill over to everybody. In fact, there's really not too many bad companies. They just have a lot of the driver population at their companies. Luke1234 checking in late, had lunch with your dad. All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. Take that time when you can there, sir. Clay, hate getting back into the truck, ending your break, driving 5 miles down the road and having to completely stop because the touchscreen didn't register and reset brake button. Remember, on an ELD, everything except drive time can be edited by you. So if it does that, you can go back and edit your time as the driver, okay, with an annotation. Drive time cannot be edited, but any other time that you put in there can be edited back to you. James Faust, you're sitting in the doctor's office, hour wait. Oh, hey, at least you made it over there. Plus, apparently, it's close to your house. That's pretty good. Musafar. In my country, camels tip the riders extra for testicle bites. Different strokes. Well, yeah, Uzbekistan. Well, hey, what's trucking like in Uzbekistan? And what the heck time is it there? That guy going from New York to Chicago should have at least pulled a load. At least. I mean, geez. Look, there's always two sides to everything, but you cannot just take a truck home to New York from Chicago. You can't do it. If you don't want to work somewhere, go to their terminal and give them their truck and quit, certainly. You said something about needing a permit. No, I said, okay, 25 and 40. What I suggested, because of there's a runaway truck ramp in Colorado that is getting used every week. Every week. An article shows this truck ramp is getting used every week, and I'm thinking maybe you need to be extra training if you're going to go west of 25 or north of 40. And so there's some kind of, I don't know what they can call it, NW on your license that allows you to go, that would be considered northwest, so that you know what you're doing. Because luckily these drivers were able to use that ramp. What if they weren't able to use it, or it was already full or blocked for some reason? They could end up killing themselves or a ton of other people, and that's not good. Drivers for that kind of thing need to have the proper training to get down that ramp. There shouldn't be any smoking brakes going down these hills. There shouldn't be. Jeremy, that woman at Sierra England, nothing yet. She's still suing them, and it's still in court. And I think that when it goes to settlement, there will be no talk about it. On that Moose Ufar Cry Love, you'll never forget. Yes, exactly. Story with the driver picking up the phone after 70 miles. Oh, okay, at least. And agreeing to have the company pay for him to fly home despite, yikes. Well, everything's a decision. So you got to decide. The truck is expensive. This is less money. I get it. It's a business. It's almost like being blackmailed. I will tell you that. That driver purposely should not get a good DAC report. And I don't understand doing that to a company. If you don't like working somewhere, that's legit. You can go say, look, this is not working out. But you can't do this kind of stuff. It isn't right for a company to do to us, and it's not right for us to do to a company. It isn't. The Critic has only seen GP in Indiana, Nebraska, and Kentucky. They go all over. Look, go to their Insta page. They have pictures from all over the country, and they do travel all over the place. Drive time cannot be edited, correct. But the company won't let you edit your on-duty times. Okay, well, a company can limit that time. It's allowed to be edited by you. Your company, I guess, can lock it out. So they're not going to allow you to do it. James Faust, I wonder if the doctor will pay you detention. I'll tell you this. If you sit there past your appointment time, he should pay you that detention time. That is correct, just like any place else. But then they'll charge you a lumper fee, and I can't imagine what the medical lumper is going to charge, considering how much the lumper at the at Walmart, who may or may not even be on meth, how much they charge for this stuff. You said there are two sides to the story. What wrong taking the truck? I don't agree with them, but there's a reason he did it, and obviously their employer won. Look, it doesn't matter to me why he did it. He can't drive the truck home. It's not his truck to drive. He can be super mad at them. They could have done, maybe they didn't pay him for the last 6 weeks. It doesn't matter. That doesn't give us, me or anybody else, the right to do that to somebody else. It doesn't. A company that closes where you're on the road, that's one thing of leaving the truck somewhere. You don't work there. Here, you still work there. You drive their truck from, if he's in Chicago, they're not that far away. You drive it down there and go, we're done. I'm not tolerating whatever it is you've done to me. These 3 things or 6 things, I'm not doing them anymore. We're done. And that's the end of it. But you don't get to just drive the truck home. We have to be a professional. We wouldn't want that done to us. Okay. And so that's kind of thing we can't do to them. What do I think about the lady that went in the Camel enclosure and said in the Camel? Yes, we talked about the Camel testicle incident today. And fortunately, the Camel will be okay. Once I needed to get home at a family event, my company I was with said they couldn't find anything but one load, saying it didn't pay much, and said I could take it, but they wouldn't pay you for it. Oh, that's interesting. I'd say, as an employee, you're going to pay me for it. I'm an employee. All these rules are only making the cost of goods go up. More trucks, long lines, is only going to cost more for everything. Gallon costs $2.99. Tomorrow it will cost $4.99. But the rules didn't change. Donald Dunn, right? The rules didn't change. The rules are the same. The ELD is going to effect to enforce the rules, but the rules, nobody changed the rules. The rules are what they always were. We were just breaking the rules. If somebody's on anybody's on Geotab, I've got a really short video on your channel explaining how to edit logs, use Yard Move and PC, full driver training course, if that helps. Okay, thank you very much, Fleet Nav Systems. I appreciate that. Anybody on Geotab, go check those out. I'm not allowed to edit any of my logs. I have to call in for it to be changed, even when you forget to change the sleeper time. So your company does not allow it, so that just makes more work for them in the back. I don't know why they don't let you edit things that you're allowed to edit, but that's maybe they're keeping it down so that they don't have log violations. Drivers, you cannot drive fast on I-70 going into Denver. Just don't do it. You should be in low gear and stay in that gear. You should be in whatever gear your engine brake, as people always say when I say Jake brake, right, holds you going down the hill. That's it. That's the speed I go. Whatever it'll hold me on high, that's it. So it doesn't matter if it's 20, 25, it doesn't matter. That's the speed because I want my brakes cool in case there's traffic stop like our last accident a few months ago and you need to use them. So you should be using them very sparingly or hardly at all going down a hill. So if I drive from a staging area to a dock on the customer's property, it will not be on the drive line. Well, that would be, if it's on the customer's property, theoretically that can be yard move if your company allows you to use it, which some do. You can use a yard move for that. It'll be on there. Ask your company. There's 100 different ELDs. How do you do a yard move? You could put it on a yard move. That's still on duty time. And it's up to 5 miles an hour, so your company, though, can have that lower, too. That truck ramp story said it was in Colorado, was putting a law in that you had to have special training to drive the mountains. Good. Well, how are they going to enforce that in Colorado, though? How would they only enforce that in Colorado, have their own law? I don't know how that would go. We need to teach all these new drivers how to say no and stop letting dispatchers bullying them into driving illegal. They don't seem to realize they are the ones who get hosed. Yes, when you drive illegal, you just lower your own pay and you lower the rest of our pay. Is lumping still legal? Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody sent me a lumper bill for $600 and some just the other day. They're like, can you believe this? So, yes, it's alive and well. And I'm considering starting a lumping company, considering what it pays. Sam, my company is great about getting me home when a home is in a different state. I usually take a trailer to the drop yard and go home. Some companies are good about it. It depends where you live, on the company, where freight is. There's a lot of things that go into it, especially if you need to be home in emergency. I would like to see all companies have one emergency a year where you can say, look, I have an emergency. I need to be home right away. And they just send you home. They just bobtail you home or bring you to a yard and let you go home, whatever it is. That would be a great driver benefit. Maybe after a year, you could earn that kind of one day or something like that. That would be a nice thing to do too. I don't know if I've ever seen it anywhere, really. Clay, make sure you're not loaded or companies can get you for abandoning the load. Return the truck after completing the run. If you're going to quit somewhere, give them the truck back and quit and be done with the place. It doesn't matter what place it is. Even a great place is not great for everybody. But you can't just drive the truck back and then blackmail a company. That's not the way to live a life. My company, Jeremy, so nice, getting really creepy. Gave them 5-minute notice for home time. Told me to bobtail 200 miles home. Huh? I want to be home in 5 minutes. All I know is that a company has 400 trucks. You would think you'd seen them around more. Yeah, they are. Look, I see them around. Nebraska is the only state where I saw multiple GP Transco trucks. Indiana, Kentucky was one. Follow their Instagram. They are around. And really, at 400 trucks, consider how many trucks there are around the country. That's only, I don't know how many states there are because I went to public school. That's like 20 a state or something. I don't know. But seriously, that is not that many trucks in every state. So for you to see one, really, that's not that much when you look at it that way. Is the person who won the Garmin here today? Was here earlier, yes. So, yes, the critic, I don't know if he's still on. The critic, we do run all over. It's a coincidence if you haven't seen us. To be fair, 400 trucks, there are hundreds of thousands of others on the road, exactly. James Faust, go down the hill in the gear you top the hill with. Well, here's the thing. I never went along with that because the other side of the hill may be a different grade than the upside to me because the hill may not come down at the same grade as going up. So I go down the hill in the gear that will hold me with the engine brake on. GPs all over the Midwest. Nice combo of equipment. I love the new trucks. I love that. I don't see enough of those. Should be part of like the general knowledge test, how to descend a hill. It should be some kind of training for people that are going to go over the road. Cassius King says don't use brakes going down the mountains and it won't get hot. Exactly. If you hardly ever have to hit the brake for any reason, you're just cruising down there at whatever this truck will hold you, then when traffic in front of you is stopped, you have full braking ability and you don't have to kill anybody or go in an off-ramp like that. Oscar's getting a load in Laredo to Miami. Wow. The Miami home to Phoenix. Wow, I love being an owner-operator. That's awesome that it's working out for you. Does that pay anything good coming out of Laredo? I always used to think Laredo didn't pay good coming out. Comfortable man. 2 Swift dispatchers required me to run illegally last year, so you left. They fired those 2 and called you back. Huh, that's pretty good. I'm surprised. GP Transco may be they may not even be GP Transco. Cassius King. Alabama used to have a law if you were going to pull a steel coil, you had to have their state certificate. That's true. Some states have that for specific loads. New York's got some kind of coil or steel law as well. But I don't know about regulating every driver in a state. Maybe. The Swift recruiter just sent me a text message telling me to have a good day and not to hesitate to call her for anything. Swift just moved ahead of Maverick. At least, look, any place that at least answer you goes ahead on the list. There's a GP Transco logo right there, and that's how you can get a hold. So that picture also may be a myth, but we're not sure. We think they're real, though. We're going to find out next year when we go up there and see them. Automatic transmission do not necessarily stay in low gear going downhill. I miss a manual. They seem to, with the J-Con, they seem to hold their gear better. They also have a manual mode if your company allows it, so that the truck can hold its gear. Some companies don't allow the manual mode. Sam, there was an HVH trailer at the TA in Lake Station. When it was still loading, you should have checked into it. Yeah, there might actually be a reward for it or something by now. The best way to break into the industry is to dock, to spotter, to diesel shop, to help the truck, to city flyer, to semi. That's a lot of ways to get in there. Holy moly. I don't know anything about rail. Looking to sign up the new CDL training program. I'm always up on the fence on rail. People say it's a great program that have gone there. There's some drivers probably on here from rail. They have a camera, which I'm not a fan of, but they do pay you in training. So it might not be a bad place to start, but that camera just gets me down. 1,400 miles, got 3,700. Not bad. Yeah, for drive-in out of Laredo, I used to think that didn't pay anything outbound of Laredo, but that's really good, especially, because you're going to Florida, though, with it. To Miami, which is harder to get out of. So that's pretty good still. I'll take it. Critic's been on the road 2 years. Only seen him in 3 states. It's not that many trucks, though. Or they don't exist. That's the thing. Does anybody really exist? Oscar, are you ready to sleep with the 3 guys in a truck? Well, Swift doesn't do that. Only Sierra England has been the only one I've ever seen that uses the 3-bunk truck. Only one I've seen. Some places have an inspection station at the top of the mountain. They could check your training card. Oh, they could. What would you do up there? There's almost never anybody in there, and most people just stop and go in there. They don't do anything. The barbecue truck or Swift doesn't do that exactly. If it was 3 girls, you would do it. Nice. That's great. That's awesome. Don't forget, go file your comments. I have a link in the description of this video. Comment for hours of service changes. 1,356 people only have filed comments as of noon today. What is going on with that? What is everybody doing? What about the extra 3 hours? I mean, that's the thing that I don't even like, that they're going to add 3 extra hours that you can do every day off duty, which presumably will be unpaid time where you're sitting at a shipper. And so the ATA and that probably love that kind of stuff. I'm not a huge fan of it. Comfortable man does not exist. You're only a myth. Exactly correct. Maybe they're happy because they're getting paid. Exactly. They're getting paid plenty. You should drive a straight truck, 6 Camel train to pull hay loads. Wow. With a Super 10. Where's James Faust for that? UNM. Is James Faust? I think he's from Uzbekistan. GPS unit would say Camel turn left. Got paid $3,700, whatever that is per mile, which is probably about, a penny. I'm not sure how that works. Free Camel wash per month. That is awesome. They need it, too, if you've ever... how would that have been underneath that Camel? We don't want to know about that, I guess, for that nice lady who... I don't know. I don't know why you would think that. The CAT scales are going up. I-10 is flooded. FedEx is going to hire 55,000 drivers. 55,000 drivers. Wait a minute. I thought there's a big shortage. How are they going to be able to do that if there's no drivers around? Oh, but wait, then the next article says, oh, it's a trucking apocalypse. It was in the same page. That there's no loads, and then 55,000 new drivers they want to hire. They keep 35% of them. They said they keep 35% of them, of the drivers. Mark, I think no one is commenting because at the end of it all, they think they do whatever they please and our opinions don't matter to them. Well, it is unfortunately kind of true. But if we don't do anything, here's the thing, we don't do anything, nothing will change. So because people don't vote, nothing changes. And people don't comment, nothing changes. You know, when people don't do anything, of course, nothing changes. Nothing can change until people take action. The first action on the hours of service is that you need to comment. That's the first thing that we can do. We have to go comment. So if we don't comment, then of course they're going to like, well, these must be fine. Nobody even took the 5 minutes to comment in the 44 days that they had to comment. Well, so what about that? If we don't do anything, then you just get what you get, really, kind of. If you took them out at the speed the sign suggests, that would be a good start, at least. Yeah, some people don't know how much they weigh, though. The sign is for your gross weight. If you asked 10 drivers, I bet only 6 of them could tell you how much their gross weight of their truck is. They would have no idea. It would be like, can you name it within, I can name that weight within 3,000 pounds. I can name that weight within 2,000 pounds. The barbecue truck, I'm going to try to get Swift to train without going team status. I can't sleep in a moving truck. I agree with you. Neither can I. And I don't even know how people do it. And training in a team status is not even training. Michael, where are they going to find them? But that's the thing of it. Well, if there's all these drivers out of work, though, they would have no problem, except there's a driver shortage. So I don't know which is it. I mean, I can't figure out which is it. Cassius King says, I agree, rail sounds good until the driver-facing camera. I know they pay you in training, but then the camera faces you all the time. And it depends how aggravating they are about it. Can you tolerate it for a year? Because I don't want to get people to get fired because of something on a camera that's what a lot of companies do. Not all of them, but some of them have somebody watch the video of the camera that doesn't drive. And then they have the gall to come and tell you from a 12 or 20 second video, oh, you know, a driver here where you didn't turn that corner properly there, from somebody that doesn't drive. I just don't like it. Comfortable Man is going to be part of the 35%. They kept a third of the drivers. I'm surprised at that. Thanks, Marcus. Get 6 cents additional for photos of your truck. That's awesome. Right. I would love to do that. What's my weight? Yeah, exactly. Can you get that kind of pay from them? I don't know. What's your weight? I can get that within 1,000 pounds. I can get that within 500 pounds. I don't know. I don't understand how they do that. It doesn't make much sense at all. I started with McHare Werner after 7 months became an owner-operator. Well, look, you're an owner. I just couldn't do it. Being an owner, because of the insurance and all that stuff, it's not going to be something that I'm going to want to do. If it works for you, I'm in. Currently doing Team FedEx dedicated, working for a contractor. Teaming is rough, but you either get used to it or not, and I did. But teaming in a FedEx dedicated is different than when you're training. Because when you're training, you're trying to learn. You don't know all the stuff, even though here, this, barbecue is 10 years in, right? It's still, you got a trainer who might be an idiot or whatever, or you might not be able to sleep because the trainer doesn't know what they're doing. But for a lot of students that are just in the industry, they don't have any experience, and they're coming in for a trainer, and that trainer only has 8 months experience, and the two of you are trying to figure the road out, and it just doesn't make a lot of good sense. And how do you train somebody if they're sleeping? You two that are teaming on a FedEx dedicated, absolutely. I mean, if you guys can work it out, or with a woman, whoever it is, that's one thing. But training, no way. Self-driving trucks, there's someone sitting in a cubicle building watching 4 screens. They're talking about it. Has a PS3 steering wheel. They're talking about that in the future. Talking about it. They're talking about that's how they will do the self-driving. One driver will drive 4 trucks from a room. That'll be one of the ways that they'll do it. That is a long, long time away. I mean, a long way away. And remember, your mom said you can't make money video games. Maybe if you know enough about electronics, because that's always the encouragement to people as well. Stay up on technology. The truck's full of screens. They're getting ready to eliminate the side view mirrors. That's going to go to screens in your truck as well. Those will be next to go already. They're already testing that. That looks like those will be going. You'll have just little cameras over there. that'll face back. They'll have night vision on them. You'll be able to see better at night. And so that will work out good. But that's another screen in your truck that you'll have to manage. And I don't know what they do if that goes out. I've thought about that too. What happens when that camera goes out? Because they're talking about putting them on cars too. And so that's all wonderful and great with the screen. But as it gets older and the car, the screen goes out, that's a problem. Paying $800 a month insurance, and that's not terrible, right? And if you know how the industry works and your cost per mile, you can be successful. Yeah, look, absolutely. There's tons of successful owner-operators, tons of them. And there's some that fail. But there's people that fail as a company driver. 800, I think is a lot because I'm a company driver. But but in the industry, that isn't bad looking around it. That's way less than a lot of places are. Rusty Nail, I don't get enough credit for comedy gags, but sometimes, right. I get too much credit for other things. He's with a carrier with a dedicated freight. Yeah, certainly. The rates up and down, I don't know. I've never been an owner-operator, and I don't know. It's a tough road to go down. For me, I don't want the risk of it. If it works for you, Oscar, I think that's awesome. But for me, the risk is not worth the reward of it and the time gone and stuff. You're going to Miami and that's just not going to happen for me anymore. Those are years I've passed me up by now. Drinks on me. The doctor gave you clean bill. No cancer. That is that's super awesome. That's all right. That's the best news we've heard all day. How about that? No more cancer. That's what we want to hear. I think that's great. And thanks for telling us that, because that's the best news we're all going to get all day. None of the rest of any of that matters when that's the kind of news that you're waiting for. Certainly, then nobody cares about somebody biting a camel testicles or mirrors or anything else, because that's what matters. I think that's really great. I'm glad that you put that out there. What do we think about this Freightliner batteries made in China? I thought that was going to be a bigger thing, but nobody said anything. Look, Freightliner batteries are made in China. When we all got all this China problem and you're going to have an electric truck with the batteries made in China, I think it's a problem. Apparently, I'm the only one. Shadow Joy, your company set up a yard move to cancel at 15 because people were abusing it. Of course, whatever people do, they abuse it. But it's because it's for a yard move. Here, there's no speed limit on it, and because they want you to use it. Not really, but if you use it, it's okay, So the kind of, no, we don't want you to use it, but here it is, James, you're quite welcome. I think that's great news. Don't forget also get your comments in. Where am I else here? Oh, right. The natural gas and electric truck. Am I the only one that knew this, that they were 82,000 pounds? That you could get 82,000 on these trucks? Oh, I wanted to ask this too. I looked it on there. I missed it. Last week was brake safety week. Did anybody get stopped? Did anybody see any extra scale activity? Did anything happen? What happened to anybody on brake safety week? I, of course, at night don't ever have any problems really, so I didn't see any extra activity or anything. What happened to people? Anything? Did anybody get any problems at all? Did anybody get ticketed or even see, anything extra? I asked some of the drivers. Most of the scales were just open their normal time. A libertarian's view, your Volvo is made in America. Exactly. They make them here. Fleet nav system. There might be a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit on yard move. Oh, I didn't know that they would regulate the speed. They should. I don't think there is, because I personally know drivers here that have used it at least 45 miles an hour. So, Al Johns, I want to be an owner-operator, but I'm just not good enough or experienced enough and scared. It's scary. It's you'd have to go, talk to a lot of people that are doing it, certainly. I don't want the risk of it. That's the thing for me. Oscar's all in for the risk. I'm not in for that much risk. I don't have any risk. But for the risk, he gets paid more than I do. But I don't have any risk. Well, Bill says yard moves are not all they are cracked up to be. Don't you like yard moves? It must be before this on paper logs, it must have been really annoying for you to have to put down every move you made on that paper log. All the lines you'd have down there. George, I did have a truck owner that said I would have to have cameras in your home to monitor me. Yes, believe it or not. No way. Yes, believe it or not. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Come on, man. You can't be. Nobody would say that. I've seen Smith everywhere and their fleet is small. Their trucks kind of stand out. Telling you they're around. What do you think about the two congressmen wanting to push $5 million minimum liability After investigating, they owned a law firm that specializes in truck accidents. I agree. People that are involved in anything in Congress or anything should have no say in it. They shouldn't have any say in it. I think the liability is kind of low. It hasn't been raised in many years, though. We have an accident like this Colorado accident. That company only had $750,000. That's only a little more than I have on my car. Okay, so that's not a lot of insurance if there's a large accident. So is there a happy medium in there or not? But for these congressmen, oh no, they should have nothing to say about it. They shouldn't get to vote on it. Nothing. They should be out. They should have to recuse themselves from any. They shouldn't be able to put debate out because they're involved in it. Totally agree with you. Al John's Brake Safety Week got you for $400, 3 out of service violations. Yikes. Are you going to fight those? Fleet Nav System thinks it's relative new, but we'll check the FMCSA website. Yeah, I didn't know they would put a thing on it. I know they're not saying anything here about it. You got stopped in Libertarian's View, right? It got stopped in every Wyoming, Utah scale, but no inspection. Just got pulled in. So nothing happening. In Michigan, if you have 13 axles, the gross weight is different. That's correct. Imagine an electric 13-axle truck. Ronnie Robertson, this is your first time in the channel. Oh, great. Thanks for being here. You came in on Camel Testicle Day. I appreciate that. I've been wanting to get into trucking for years, but been afraid of failing or starting with not so good company. Yeah, you're going to have to do some research. Just do some research. Just don't go with the first company that brings pizza to your truck school. That's what I tell people. So the first one that brings in pizza or is nice to you, don't go there. Do some research. You can welcome to email me. We can talk about it, and we can get you into a better place, hopefully that's near your house and gets you what you want in trucking. There's money to be made in trucking, but at some places they just make you quit. Old Dominion Yard Move is $20. That should be plenty, but they're probably getting paid for all of their time, and they probably don't gripe about it. Randall, I've been pulled over by the state trooper for driving too slow going down a hill. Really? Where was that happening at? I've never had anybody say a word to me. Hazards on, going down hills, no problems. I was off all last week, but replaced your brakes. Wow, I hope you didn't do that yourself. Would you hire a 61-year-old with 43 years experience? Let's see what GP Transco says about that. Ronnie, any advice on what school you suggest if you should get permit before? Well, what I think you should do first, this is what I tell everybody, is go check your state's Department of Unemployment and tell them you want to go to truck school. Some states have grants for that, where you can go to a truck school near you, like a VOTEC school or an actual truck school, and the state pays for it. No charge to you. You don't have to pay it back. That's the best way to do it. Go do that first. Then you get out of truck school, you have a license. Then you can go wherever you want and not have to worry about having a contract and all that kind of stuff. That license is yours. That's the best way to do it. Do that first and then write to me if they don't do it in your state. It was an old truck and you didn't pre-trip it good enough. It's not the end of the world, right? So 2 HP trucks the last 2 days. Hey, Vamp, what's going on? Heidi Odie, wow, Bill, your job. Yikes. The critic. Bright Real trucks are pretty easy to spot. Look, let's see them right. They're nice looking trucks. That teal color, which they don't have that many. They're not all this color, by the way. These are the new trucks coming in. I just like them. That's why I got that. That's why I used that picture. How do you fight flat tire and air leak and a loose bolt on your steering shaft? All I'm saying to fight it, all I'm saying is that maybe it can be reduced to something that is not an out of service, which gives you less points. Sometimes that can be done. That doesn't mean that these things weren't your fault, but if they would reduce it to something that wasn't an out of service on there, it might work out better on your CSA score. GD Vibes, your Garmin GPS died. I found out you have to replace the batteries every year. Oh, yikes. Don't they plug in the cigarette lighter? What's the top 5 best over-the-road companies to go with just starting? It depends on you. There aren't 5 best places because a lot of it depends on what you want to do and where you live. That's a lot of it. You might want to be home. You might want to be gone all the time. So there's no this is the best place. It's not how trucking works. Just like any job. I like working where I am, but it might not work out for you. We get people that come and go and they're gone in a few weeks. They're gone. And I've been here all these years. So it just depends. Oscar, follow Mark's advice. Thank you. So you're not driving with 5 guys in the same truck. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. I once got a ticket for too fast for conditions, even though I was driving under the posted limit. Well, where were you? But you said that day you were on the sidewalk. So I don't know how that worked, because you talked to me about that and you said you were on the sidewalk that day. If you remember, and I don't think that was great. You said you couldn't wait to get to work and you wanted to get so fast. I know it was a big problem. It was a big problem. Camel Testicle Day has really been something here today, as I get ready to go make my company some money, which may work for me and not some other people. So you really have to think about, do I have a family? Do I need to be home, or do I want to be gone? Because, you can make the same money being gone and being home. Or some places have 4 and 4 or 7 and 3. They have a different schedule, on, off 1, on 7, off 7. They have all different ways in trucking to make money. Old original Sears fleet was the same color as GP. Is that Sears blue? Is that how you order that color? Oh, well, we have Sears blue. We have Montgomery Ward blue also. We have Venture black. We have Levitt's purple. My company said they would pay it, but my perfect CS score is gone. Yeah, that's the thing of it. Nobody, as long as you're not changing jobs, I guess, nobody would care about it, certainly. But still, if you can fight it down to a non-out of service, it would lower your points. That's what I'm saying. If you're not changing companies, though, I guess it really doesn't matter that much, because it's not a moving violation where it's going to affect your car and all that stuff. I don't know if it's worth it to you to do anything or not. Maybe not. I have to depend on what you're considering doing in the future. Stuff happens. You get a ticket, no problem. Ironically, it wasn't, I don't remember, it wasn't really brake stuff that they got you for anyway, right? Wow, Bell, yeah, it was icy. The sidewalks are not plowed like they should be. Back then, Mayor, Daley said, get those sidewalks clean, but they weren't. That's what you told me, so. Greater Chicago, yeah. They are in. GP Transco's location is outside of the Greater Chicagoland area. Exact Darien, right? I'm right at somewhere in Darien. I think it's Darien. Anyway, they're building a new terminal out there, so that will be really good. I'd love to go see it sometime. Once it's done, they have a lot of drone shots of it too, which is pretty cool. I love it, right? But I'm going to head out and make my company some money today on Testicle Monday, which is almost as good as Roller Wiener Monday, really. And by the way, have you joined OIDA? I always tell people that, I'm a member. I think it's the best we can do right now, and I'm joined. So I'm not just telling people to join. I'm a member. I pay my membership every year. You should join too. I think it's the way we can fight for betterment of the industry. They're the ones that are up for us right now. If somebody's got people say, well, they're not doing much. Oh, well, if you got something better, I'm all ears to listen to, who's doing more for the industry than they are right now. I don't think anybody at the moment. Maybe somebody, but I don't know. Even the cat is surprised that the time has gone by, but I do want to thank GP Transco for being here, as always, and answering questions, and it must be something over there. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it, and for making the news. Look, you made the news. I think that's super cool. I hope you hung that up in your place, too, right? Always go check out Jay at 8 p.m. on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central. Check out Jay at Auto Transport until he's live answering questions about that end of the industry. Do you have a blue parrot? Why not? Why are you driving illegal? I wish all these places paid me something. I need to get paid. Okay, but they're not paying. I don't get paid from anybody for saying this, by the way, just so people think, Mark, you get all that paid. I don't. I like these places, and so I put them out there. They are not paying me to say that. So that is the story for today. Not paying to say it. I was not even paid to put the camel testicle story out there, really. So, Trucker Hershey, what size is that roller wiener? Yeah, that's what she said. Be safe. Holy mackerel. Yes. Have a great week. NASA startup company so you can make $65,000. Yeah, I don't think so. Say they pay 33 cents. Should I sign the contract to get your CDL? You should get your CDL through your state's Department of Unemployment if you can. Call them. Check into them and see if they'll pay it. Some do. Some pay it. You can get it free and not owe anybody a penny. Then you can decide on a company while you're in that truck school. You'll get a company figured out before you're at the end of that truck school. You'll get in that company and you'll have a much better time. Write to me. We can talk about it, right? Fleet Nav System, thanks for being here. And GP Transco. James Faust, congratulations. And thank you for being here this week. Wow, Bill, and sharing your news with us, too. You didn't have to do that. Thank you very much. Wow, Bill, thanks for being here. Marcus, thanks for coming in. Oscar, I appreciate you being here. George Wilson. Al Johns was here today. Michael Muller first in. Thank you for being in every week. The Heady Trucker, I appreciate you coming in. I'm trying to get everybody. The Critic Vamp was here, right? Everybody's here today. Ronnie Robertson was here. Ryan Randall, Anthony Brown. Thank you all for coming in. We're here every week at 1 p.m. for new people and a Libertarian's View. Thank you for being here. Comfortable man, I appreciate it. And that's it. And I will head out and got to hit the road. Be safe out there. More videos this week as always. And I'll see you online.